I direct that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes.
The business of the National Assembly has kicked off this morning with the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Boss, presiding over the business this morning. But upon the commencement, the House has a little quorum hitch that has necessitated the Speaker to use the directives from the House Standing Orders to direct that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. And so for the next 10 minutes or so, the Sergeant-at-Arms will be ringing that bell to alert members within the presence of Parliament that the chamber has already begun and they are needed inside the chamber to raise quorum of 50 members of Parliament to allow the National Assembly to proceed with the consideration of business before it. As we wait for that signal from the Sergeant-at-Arms, a number of bills are lined up for first reading this morning. Among them is the Micro and Small Enterprises Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 25 of the year 2025 by Honorable Gitonga Mukunji. This being the very first time that the bill is being introduced on the floor of the House. And remember, this is an amendment bill that is seeking to amend the already existing Act on Micro and Small Enterprises. Let's now have a look at the proposals in the bill by Honorable Mukunji. And this bill on the Micro and Small Enterprises Amendment Bill is seeking to amend the Micro and Small Enterprises Act Cap 499C to require the Micro and Small Enterprises Authority to promote the marketing, development, branding of products and services by micro and small enterprises and equally enhance their consumption in the local market. The bill, under Clause 3, is proposing to amend Section 74 of the Principal Act. And this amendment will require that the Cabinet Secretary, with the advice of the authority, make regulations to prescribe the mechanisms for development and affirmative action on local enterprises, products and services to enhance their consumption. Away from the bill on micro and small enterprises, Honorable Mashua Waithaka will also be tabling his bill for first reading, and his bill pertains the National Addressing Bill, National Assembly Bills number 31 of the year 2025. A look at the bill's memorandum. It is a bill that is seeking to establish the National Addressing Council and the county addressing committees whose function shall include the creation and management of the addressing system for the naming, numbering, as well as allocation of addresses to streets and properties at the national and county level, respectively. The enactment of the legislation, according to the member in the bill, will ensure that there is seamless naming, numbering of streets and properties, which will lead to improved identification and location of places, which will subsequently improve the country's economy in terms of trade revenue generation, particularly through matters e-commerce and enhanced tax collection. The last bill lined up for first reading is the harm reduction bill, National Assembly Bills number 37 of the year 2025 by Nairobi Woman Representative Honorable Esther Passaris. The sponsor of the bill states that this bill is seeking to provide a framework for the delivery of harm reduction services, and this is within the public health facilities in order to minimize drug-related deaths, drug overdose, and infectious diseases transmission through the provision of harm reduction services. This includes the access to healthcare, social services, treatment, and management of persons with substance use disorder. Part 3 of the bill provides for the harm reduction facilities, provision of harm reduction services, and the duty of healthcare providers in ensuring that there is harm reduction in the provision of healthcare services. As to whether this bill is affecting the county governments, the bill concerns the provision of harm reduction services, which are health interventions developed to assist the users of drugs and harmful substances to prevent the transmission of infectious diseases. Health services are developed in this bill under schedule of the Constitution, this being 4th schedule of the Constitution, and the bill proposes to integrate harm reduction services for persons with substance use disorder in the county health system.
Sergeant at Arms, you may now stop the quorum bell. You may proceed. First order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Who is tabling the papers on behalf of the majority leader? There are no papers? Okay, let's proceed. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Which statements are being... I don't have it at the back of my order paper. Okay. The question by Honorable Beatrice Elachi is being responded to on transitional mechanisms for 844 to CBC, but she's not here, so we'll skip that. The Chairperson of Education, is he here? Has anyone been tasked? No. Move to the next one. The question by Honorable Stephen Mogaka, member for West Mugurango. He had tasked Honorable Jerusha Momanyi to receive the answer on his behalf, but she's not here. So we'll move to the next order.
Order number 8, motion. Formulation of a land use policy on zoning of land for agriculture and built development. Question to be put.
Honorable members, I now put the question that aware that land is a critical but limited factor of production that supports human habitation and food production, and noting that agriculture is Kenya's main economic mainstay, appreciating that the Central Bank of Kenya Monetary Policy Committee Agriculture Sector Survey of 2022 estimated the contribution of agriculture sector to the country's gross domestic product to be 22% directly and 27% indirectly, through its linkages with other sectors. Further appreciating that the survey showed that the sector employs over 40% of Kenya's total population, and concerned that in Land Reform, Volume 3 publication of Kenya's Land Alliance Land estimated that only 17% of Kenya's land mass is classified as suitable for rain-fed agriculture land, while the remainder is either semi-arid or arid, and further concerned that the country's agricultural productivity has been decreasing over the years, and cognizant of the fact that the decline in agricultural productivity is partly attributable to the shrinking agricultural land use due to unplanned settlements that encroach on agricultural lands, and further concerned that the agricultural lands in rural areas are continually being subdivided into small portions for built-up development, thereby diminishing the size of land available for agriculture. Noting that there is need to put in place measures for effective land use in the country in order to guarantee optimal use of agriculture. Now, therefore, this House resolves that the government, through the Ministry of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development, puts in a policy framework for effective land use in rural areas by consolidating and designating zones for built development, for commercial and residential developments with shared public utilities, separate zones for agriculture use in order to arrest the further diminishing of agricultural land and steady the country's agricultural productivity. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 9, the Micro and Small Enterprises Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 25 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Micro and Small Enterprises Act and for connected purposes. Order number 10, the National Addressing Bill, National Assembly Bill number 31 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to give effect to paragraphs 18(1) and 21 of part 1 and paragraphs 8(b) and (c) of part 2 of the fourth schedule to the Constitution to provide for the establishment of the National Addressing Council and County Addressing Committees, to provide a legal framework for the development and regulation of the National Addressing System and for connected purposes. Order number 11, the Harm Reduction Bill, National Assembly Bill number 37 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide a framework for the provision, administration, and coordination of harm reduction services in Kenya and for connected purposes. Order number 12, motion, formulation of a reward scheme for accomplishments by sports persons in international competitions.
Yeah. Honorable members, where a member is not present and they had sought a response on their statement, then the response won't be given. It can just be tabled. So, Honorable Eva Barra, you can just table it because the owner of the statement, Honorable Elachi, is not here. So you can just give it to the clerk's desk. Okay, thank you. Next order. Yeah. Have you read it out? Okay. Honorable Ngusia, you may move your motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to move this motion 001-2024. And before I move, I would like to request the members to keenly listen to this motion, because we have been proudly tweeting about sportsmen, athletes, really praising them, but it is high time we start rewarding them, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that, aware that the sports
Honorable Lucia, just stick to read your motion as is on the order paper.
Okay, well guided. That aware that the sports play an integral role in promoting cultural heritage, national identity, national development, the well-being of the people, and the sustenance of livelihoods, particularly of the youth. Appreciating that sessional paper number 3 of 2005 provides a framework for sports development and operationalization in the country. Further appreciating that the sector plan for Sports, Culture and Arts 2018 by the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Arts mainstreamed sports development in the 3rd term medium plan for 2028-2022 under Kenya's Vision 2030, recognizing that the Vision 2030 aims at capitalizing on the country's international reputation as a world-class sports powerhouse whose sportsmen and women have won international accolades and recognition, especially for their prowess in athletics. Concerned that despite bringing honor and national pride to the country, most of sportsmen and women face a myriad of challenges, such as lack of physiological sportsmen and women face, of physiological support and social protection, hence pushing many to alarming levels of mental health challenges during their career and even after retirement. Noting that the sessional paper number 3 of 2005 contemplated motivation of sportsmen by the state through cash and material prizes, conferring state honors, appointment as goodwill ambassadors, and establishing contributory insurance and saving schemes, among other forms of motivation, cognizant of the fact that the prospect of receiving state recognition, financial grants, and other perks inspire sportsmen to push their limit in attaining their full potential, as well as fostering a collective sense of pride in sporting achievements. Now, therefore, this House urges that the government, through the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and Arts, develop a policy and standardized sports reward scheme for recognizing the achievement made by sports person in internationally recognized competition through number 1, financial reward of Kenya shillings 6 million for setting world records, Kenya shillings for gold medalists, and Kenya shillings 3 million for silver medalists, and 2 million for bronze medalists. 2, non-financial motivation, including facilitation with the issuance of diplomatic passports for established sportsmen and women, appointment as goodwill ambassadors, concern and conferring national honors and privileges. 3, establishing medical cover and post-retirement social protection scheme, including establishing contributory insurance and savings scheme to support sports persons who retire from active sporting due to injuries or age. Madam Speaker, this motion is coming at a time when we are just celebrating the good performance of our athletes who did very well in Tokyo, collecting a collective medals of 11 medals. 7 of them were gold medals, and even some of them set the world records, Madam Speaker. I am urging this House actually to come up with a policy, a standardized policy through the Ministry of Youth and Sports, so that we can be rewarding these athletes whenever they do us proud during the international competition, Madam Speaker. Most of the time, most of them have broken the world records, and I would like to appreciate the President for what he has done so far by rewarding most of the athletes, even without following a standardized form of reward policy. So congratulations to president for what he has done to our athletes so far. But we need to standardize this rewarding scheme so that we can motivate our athletes when they do so well internationally, where some of them have been pushed because we don't have a standardized policy of rewarding them. I have got so many examples. Most of our athletes have faced mass exodus going to compete in other countries. I have recently the Yafi steeplechase athletes who has migrated to Bahrain to go and compete there because they have a better rewarding scheme than Kenya. And the mass exodus was started by Alfred Keter when he went to compete in Denmark, and he is a Kenyan. So for us to curb these issues of migration of our athletes to other countries, we need to start rewarding them and even planning for their retirement so that they can stick to our country. And by doing so, we are even going to improve and beat United States of America, who actually just beat us in Tokyo. And by so doing, we are going to help our athletes. The other issues, Madam Speaker, we have faced, when these sportsmen and women actually maybe they go through many problems or challenges of finances, nobody comes through. But by doing so and establishing this scheme, we are going to have what we call sustainable kind of, they will have proper sustainability in their livelihoods, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I can speak so much, and knowing that the sports has got a lot of benefits, I urge the members to support this motion so that we can actually build up. And with those few remarks, I would like to request Honorable Nabi to second this motion. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to move.
Charles Nguna, you may proceed, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to second the motion by my colleague and friend on developing a reward policy for the sports people or persons in this country. Madam Speaker, one of the things that policy would do is to dignify sports, is to dignify people who participate, break records, win awards nationally, regionally, and internationally. This motion would never have come at a better time than now, when the country seems to be at its best in terms of performance in various sports. Madam Speaker, I would like to draw the House's attention to a young women volleyball team called Malaika Strikers. A sport in volleyball that this country is now dominating in Africa. Those young girls, as young as 14, as young as 15, in senior school and in junior school, lately, they have conquered Africa. But when it comes to reward, it is so haphazard that it demotivates rather than motivate the young people. Madam Speaker, as we invest in sports academies across the country, And I want to laud the ministry. I want to laud the committee of sports of this house. As we develop sports academies across the country, what are we doing? We are ensuring that we develop talent at that level. We are ensuring that we nurture talent at that level. And with that kind of development and nurturing, we expect more of these people will break records, will win awards internationally, and therefore, we must have a system that recognizes, that sees, that rewards. We thank God. President William Samoei Ruto recognizes it. But he's doing it without a policy. What if tomorrow you have a president who has no time for sports? What will happen? What will happen tomorrow if you have a minister who has no time for volleyball, for athletics, for football? Madam Speaker, one of the things that is earning this country foreign exchange is sports. Look at what Odinga is doing with the money he's earning for playing football in the Arab League. Look at Origi, what he's doing with the money for playing football in Europe. The money is back in the village. Look at Musa Otieno, the money he got for playing football in South Africa. He came and developed a whole academy that is producing young people. But then, how do we attract many young people to come into sports? Madam Speaker, the challenge that the motion seeks to deal with is this: that we have seen clearly rewards given to athletics. We have seen clearly rewards given to footballers when we were playing here at Kasarani. But we have not been clear on rewards being given to Malkia strikers, the volleyballers who are winning. We have not seen it. We are concerned by the young chess boys, the little young boys who went to play in Norway and Sweden and won, but nobody recognized them. We are seeking equity by this policy. We are seeking to straighten things that we think sometimes we make a decision emotionally. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will be seeking colleagues that we support this motion and make sure that the country has a policy on reward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nabwire. Honorable members, I now propose the question that aware that sports play an integral part in promoting cultural heritage, national identity, national development in the well-being of the people and sustenance of livelihoods, particularly of the youth, appreciating that sessional paper number 3 of 2005 provides a framework for sports development and operationalization in the country. Further appreciating that the sector plan for sports, culture and arts 2008 by the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Arts mainstreamed sports development in the 3rd medium-term plan, MTP3, for 2008 to 2022 under Kenya's Vision 2030, recognizing that the Vision 2030 aims at capitalizing on the country's international reputation as a world-class sports powerhouse, whose sportsmen and women have won international accolades and recognition, especially their prowess in athletics, concerned that despite bringing honor and national pride to the country, most of the sportsmen and women face a myriad of challenges such as lack of psychological support, psychosocial support, and social protection, hence pushing many to alarming levels of mental health challenges during their careers and even after retirement. Noting that sessional paper number 3 of 2005 contemplated motivation of sports persons by state through cash and material prizes, conferring state honors and appointments as goodwill ambassadors and established contributory insurance and savings schemes, among other forms of motivation. Cognizance of the fact that prospect of receiving state recognition, financial grants, and other perks inspire sportsmen to push their limits in attaining their full potential, as well as fostering a collective sense of pride in sporting achievements. Now, therefore, this House urges that the government, through the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and Arts, develops a policy and standardized sports reward scheme for recognizing the achievements made by the sports persons in internationally recognized competitions through 1, financial rewards of 6 million for setting new world record, and 4 million for gold medalists, 3 million for silver medalists, 2 million for bronze medalists. 2, non-financial motivation, including facilitation with issuance of diplomatic passports as goodwill ambassadors. I want to take that again because it is very important. Non-financial motivation, including facilitation with issuance of diplomatic passports for established sportsmen and women, appointment of goodwill ambassadors, and conferring national honors and privileges. And 3, establishing medical cover and post-retirement social protection schemes, including establishment of contributory insurance and saving schemes to support sports persons who retire from active sporting due to injuries or age. Honorable members, I will start with the Honorable Rueda Obo, member for Lamu East. Rueda Obo seems to be on the screen.
I'm here.
Oh, you're here. Please proceed.
Asante. Bispika, nami nichangie katika mswada huu. Mwanzo nampongeza mheshimiwa kuleta jambo hili, ni jambo la maana sana. Upande wa sports au michezo. Sasa hii michezo kipangilio itakuwa jambo la maana. Manake itawapatia morali na kama vile tulivyosemekana ni kwamba pengine kutakuwa na rais mwingine hatapenda mambo ya michezo. Kila mtu ana vile anapenda. Rais wetu alhamdulillah, huyu Rais William Samoei Ruto ameonyesha mfano mzuri kwa michezo, na kumbe kweli kwa hakika ukipeana morali watu wanacheza ile yote. Kule pia ikipelekwa mipangilio itakuwa vizuri, kwa sababu kuna michezo mingine bado haijaonekana, haijachukuliwa kivyema. Sasa kama kule kwetu Lamu watu wetu hawajaonekana, lakini sio kwamba hawana talent, wana talent nzuri lakini hawana morali, kwa sababu kama hii michezo ya maji tunasema kwa lugha ya kimombo water sports hazijachukuliwa umuhimu. Kwangu kuna watu ambao wakiingia kwa bahari ni kama papa. Wanaogelea vizuri, wanaweza kufika, ni tactics tu kidogo wafundishwe na waende wainue jina la nchi. Lakini utaona michezo fulani, naona mwenyekiti wa kamati ya kwa hapa wa sports, nichukue nafasi hii pia nizungumze, apate kusikia, waangalie upande zingine pia zitafikiwa vipi.
Honorable Rueda Obo, do not get distracted by the chair sports. He does not understand or know as much Kiswahili as you do. So just ignore him. I can see him trying to tell you what that is in Kiswahili. He doesn't have the capacity. So just proceed.
Niko naye hapa karibu, nitamueleza zaidi. Sasa pia kuna ndio sahihi leo asikie Kiswahili vizuri kisha ataniuliza ile hajaelewa. Kuna michezo mingine inaanza paka kwa shule. Tukiweka hizi mbinu au sheria ambao zitaileta morali kuanza kwa shule, youth au vijana wanafunzi watakuwa na bidii kwa michezo. Sahihi, kama kuna mchezo ambao watu wengi hawajui, kuna mchezo nenwa. Hata nafikiri speaker hiyo itabidi nizungumze kwa lugha ya Kiingereza. Kwa Kiingereza tunasema spoken word. Hiyo pia iko kwa michezo, ambayo Lamu Mashariki shule inaitwa Siu Primary ilienda paka ikafika East Africa kwa sababu ya mchezo huo. Lakini hawakupata morali, hawakusaidika na chochote. Sahihi, walivyoshindana tena, wakija huku wakafanyiwa mchezo mbaya. Watu wa Nairobi huku wakifika, watu wangu kutoka Lamu Mashariki, anajua huyu ndio mlengwa, huyu ndio hodari, kwa hiyo kabla afike kwa stage jina lake liitwe, wakati wake umefika, akaenda kuangalia uniform zake za kuvaa zishaibiwa. So mambo kama haya akiwa na hiyo mipangilio mizuri, hata zile adhabu au wale wanadhulumika wasifike mbele, pia ziweko kwenye hiyo mipangilio, itasaidia sana. Kwangu na Pwani kwa jumla, kuna ile michezo ya zile vidau, unaeka makasia, zile ambazo inaweza kutufikisha mbali sana. Kuna watu wetu ni mahodari lakini haionekani michezo ile. So ikiwekwa hizo sheria au mipangilio ambaye rais yoyote akiweko au mbunge yoyote akiweko asiweko, bora kuna mambo kama haya, au waziri akiweko kuna mambo kama haya, yatasaidia hata morali. Utaona ile michezo imechukua hatua ingine kabisa. Mimi nampongeza sana na naomba hii bunge, mwanzo mimi na support, na naomba hii bunge tu support, itainua youth wetu, na hii itafanya wale youth ambao pengine ni idol, hawana kazi, wanakuwa na morali. Kama sisi wabunge, ile michezo kutolewa kwa wabunge imetuathiri sana, kwa sababu youth wako busy na michezo, badala kuangalia hii tu michezo ya kina hao sijui kina Manchester kina nani hao. Mimi najua hiyo timu moja tu, lakini nilikuwa nikifuata kitambo kabla Ronaldo hajatoka. Alipotoka na mimi nikatoka. So utaona youth wanafuata hiyo tu michezo, hiyo njia hizo za kuangalia tu lakini vile tulivyokuwa nayo, nakumbuka mwaka wa kwanza CDF ilipofanya, ilikuwa busy kule Lamu Mashariki, youth wakacheza wote ward zote 3, lakini sasa hiyo wakatoa. Tunaomba katika hiyo mikakati ukiweka na zile hii CDF waangalie, waregeshe ile sports ilikuwa inasaidia sana na itaweza kuenua. Na kama hiyo michezo nasema ya maji, nimejaribu speaker, nikachukua youth wangu, kwa sababu nimeomba kwa serikali hii mpaka sasa haijakuwa. TVET ile iko Kizingitini. Nilisema ile TVET ambayo iko kule kwetu, kwa sababu sisi maeneo yetu ni maji, tuwekewe course ambazo zinahusiana na maji sana za blue economy. Lakini hizo course mpaka sasa hazijawekwa. Ile tumewekewa ni bakery na catering. Sasa imagine pale ward au eneo bunge langu lote la Mashariki wanasungishwa tu bakery na catering, ndo zaidi iko, na zingine ndogo, hakuna za blue economy. Sasa hizo ambazo hakuna, mimi nimejaribu nikasema ngoja tuchukue youth, tumepeleka youth 252 bandari kusomeshwa na bandari. Hao youth wana raha, utaona wanapenda. So it is good pia katika upande wa sports, kila eneo bunge la hapa la Kenya lihamasishwe zaidi kwa upande ule ambao wanaweza. So hii kiwekwa sheria na haya mambo mengine ya chini ya kuvuta, inshallah pia nao yawekwe, watoto wetu, youth wetu wasaidike. Utaona youth pengine yeye hawezi mbio, kama mimi siwezi mbio, watu wangu si wengi wa kuweza mbio, lakini kwa bahari wale wa mbio hawatuwezi. Kwa hivyo kila eneo bunge lina talent yake Mungu aliyopatia.
Mheshimiwa wa Lamu East, wajua sisi tunakujua kwa ubambe wako wa Kiswahili. Na kwa sababu ulianza na Kiswahili, tungependa umalize kwa Kiswahili. Kwa sasa unachanganya na kununu za
sawa. Asante.
Standing orders zetu hazijatukubalia.
Sawa, asante.
Kuchanganya. Kwa hivyo
asante Bi Speaker, nimesema Lamu East, Lamu ni Lamu Mashariki. Ni rahisi tu kuisema
Lamu Mashariki, endelea.
Lamu Mashariki. Na hivyo umeelewa. So na mimi nimalizie hapo. Naomba tu tushirikiane, hawa youth wetu watatukumbuka bunge hili tukitengeza sheria hii, na upande wetu wa michezo utaenda juu sana. Asanteni.
Asante sana mbunge wa Lamu Mashariki, Mheshimiwa Ferdinand Wanyonyi. Mheshimiwa Ferdinand, kidogo tu nisamehe, nipatie Mheshimiwa Timothy Wanyonyi kwanza, alafu nitakuja kwako.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I know Mheshimiwa Ferdinand always masquerades and takes my position. But that's on a light note, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also want to support this motion. Madam Speaker, Kenya is a sporting nation, but we have not lived to that billing that our athletes, our sportsmen and women, Madam Speaker, most of them, they are languishing in poverty. They have represented the country, they have carried our flag high in international arenas, Madam Speaker, but if you go down and look at the athletes who are great sportsmen and women a few years ago, you'll find most of them, you can't even recognize them. It is a very timely motion that we should now have a predictable system and scheme that recognizes our men and women who have made this country, Madam Speaker, great in the international arena. You can imagine just a few weeks ago in Tokyo, our national anthem, Madam Speaker, sang 7 times with our athletes who were there and performed very well. We remember some time back when I think I was still in primary, there was a great athlete called Henry Rono. Henry Rono broke 4 world records, Madam Speaker, in a span of 1 month and a few days. And the same gentleman, Henry Rono, although he worked and remained in America for a long time, but there was nothing to show off. When he came here in Kenya, no recognition, nobody even knew who Henry Rono was, but he was a great man, Madam Speaker. And many others, people like Kipchoge Keino, Madam Speaker, they are the people who have excelled and have become role models. We have footballers, Madam Speaker, we have other sportsmen and women, including the chairman of sports here, Madam Speaker, Mheshimiwa Dani Wanyama, is a great volleyballer, and he played for the country. I remember when we were in school, we used to call him Amboseli. He was in our neighboring school, and I was in the other school, Madam Speaker. So we have these people spread all over. There are recent the heroes and heroines like Faith Kipyegon. I saw her in 1,500 meters when she was beckoning her colleague who was lying, I think, 5th or something, to come forward, to come and close the gap between her and them. And she inspired that girl, and she came number 2 to her, Madam Speaker. And you could see those are people who are not selfish, they are motivating. She was even, in 5,000, she had even to slow down the other girl to beat her. So you can see, if we have a system of rewarding these people, including even naming streets and national colors and many other things and financial rewards, and that of even giving them that a medical scheme that will enable them, Madam Speaker, to always access health facilities without any problem. So, Madam Speaker, this is a good motion and we want to support it. And sports in this country, Madam Speaker, I remember in the early 90s, 80s, Kenya, our football was on a very high notch, but at the moment it has gone down. Recently, when we had a journey here, Madam Speaker, the president motivated the team and by rewarding them with cash awards. And you saw what the team did. They played very well. We beat giants like Morocco. We beat most of those big teams that the group we were in we looked like we were the underdogs, but we end up being on top of that group, Madam Speaker. So we need to continue encouraging these young men and women that sports actually today is the highest paid event in the world. Sports pays very well. When you look at footballers who are playing in Europe, Madam Speaker, they earn so much money that if you look at anybody who is employed, including even our president, cannot earn that much. So if this is properly channeled, and also we must have also a system of even training our athletes, because some of them, Madam Speaker, they become champions when they are very young, and they have nobody to direct them even how to invest the money they receive. So you find that maybe some people just come and exploit them and start taking the money from them. So if we find also a system of even protecting these young athletes, we have had foreign agents who come here, Madam Speaker, and unfortunately we don't protect our athletes. They come here and mislead these young men and women, sometimes even start fitting them on drugs, and then you find this becoming a dangerous thing that even spoils the career of these people. So we want to continue and make sure that Kenya remains a sporting nation, and we must recognize our heroes and heroines, Madam Speaker, those who have excelled, who have carried the flag of our country very high. So, Madam Speaker, I just want to support and say it's a great motion. I want to thank Mheshimiwa CNN for bringing this motion, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Very much. I would like, for the same reasons, for that purposive reasons, to go to the Honorable Harold Kimuge Kipchumba, nominated member. Member for Kwanza, please just be patient. You will be the next after Kipchumba.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am in support of this motion by Honorable Charles Ngusia, and I am excited. I come from the community where many athletes have been born and brought up. And it is true that many of them have succeeded, have performed well at the early time of their lives when they are young. But when you go back to see what they accomplished, you cannot see it. A reward system scheme is very important so that we don't rely on the whims and the passion and interests of leaders that are in position then. As I support this motion, I want to also pray that as it's being formulated, there's need to bear in mind and bring in the interests of persons with disabilities. Inclusion and mainstreaming disability would be rewarding. For example, we have teams that have won gold over the years. Right now we have a team, Kenyan badminton team of persons with disabilities in Nigeria. And they have gone to the semis. There's a team that was in Tanzania a month ago on Sekafa, the national team of amputees, and they won the African Championship, the Sekafa Championship. But they just faded from the field and came back home, and there was no recognition. There is a team of deaf sports women going to Japan for the Olympics, Paralympics. they might also just go out and come back without recognition. And therefore, this motion comes in handy and in time, and that for persons with disabilities, the recognition and reward, other than just financial, would go a long way to encouraging others to give the best of their abilities when they live with disabilities. I want to support majorly the reward on health and welfare. Giving one a comprehensive medical cover and support in performance in sports as a reward would play a great role in seeing the athletes and sportsmen and women with disabilities be able to live a dignified life later in their old age. As we know that one of the greatest challenges of living with disability at old age or after retirement is healthcare. So I want to support this motion, and that the scheme would go a long way in developing not only sports and talents in this country, but also inclusion. I support.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Wanyonyi Ferdinand, member for Kwanza, and thank you very much for your patience.
It's not patient. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I also want to take this opportunity to thank my colleague, CNN. I want to thank you for coming up with this very, very timely motion. Madam Speaker, this is very timely. And I didn't know, but I thought I was going to, but I think he came ahead of us, and I think he has come up with a very good motion on this reward scheme to our very good athletes in this country and all others in the other sports. Madam Speaker, I also want to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency the President, Honorable Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for actually coming up and rewarding our own children, our Kenyan ladies and boys who actually did very well in Tokyo. Again, as somebody mentioned, it's true, this was without any policy, but I think he also got very motivated and I think very excited that you can imagine how many times the national anthem was played in Tokyo. 7 times because of the reward to our best performance there. We just came second to America, the biggest country in the world. We were number 2. And we could have been done even better, but of course, no other country actually was compared with us. Every time there was running, I took time to watch our girls doing extremely well. Madam Speaker, I think it's only fair that we come up with a policy. Of course, Kenya has been one of the best countries in the world in terms of athletics. You can imagine days of Kenu, who actually was always #1 all over the world. I don't know how he is now today, but I think was he rewarded. That was his own efforts. We have to develop this policy, and I think I urged this House to pass it yesterday so that we can be able to move forward. And I think the next thing will be that for us to even establish what I would call International Sports Academy, so that people can come and learn from us. And as they come to learn from us, this country, Madam Speaker, will also be earning foreign exchange because of this academy. That again will be able to streamline and see and encourage. Not only encouraging, but of course we'll have a policy that can be able to assist the young ones who necessarily, we are not saying there's academic failures, but of course it could even be doctors and what have you. Could be anything, but if he has an interest in sports, he can equally be rewarded. And if the amount suggested by Honorable CNN can be taken seriously, it's a very good earning. And you can imagine if there's an annual participation or annual events of the kind, just see how much this particular individual, Kenyan, will be earning. And of course, we are not saying it must be in Kenya shillings. It could be in US dollars because it will be international. That means, again, bringing money, foreign money, to our country. So I think, Madam Speaker, we should actually pass this motion as soon as we can to be able to see what we can do. I also want to take this opportunity, and I see my colleague here, Judge of Sports, the chairman of the sports. Again, Harambee Star was doing very well those days. And you can imagine if we also have this, of course, football is also part of the sports. If now we went in for Harambee Star also being awarded for doing very well, we'll be on top of the world, because if they go up to national, apart from playing for the region, which of course Harambee Star was doing very well as a Kenyan team in Kenya, but now they can also win to go and play the World Games. That again is something that I want to encourage, apart from of course running and other sports. But Harambee Star is one of the, football is very popular sports. Madam Speaker, again, if we can be able to do that, a good reward, so that our people can be, our students and boys and girls can, even they also Harambee women star, Harambee Star for women, Starlet again can also do very well. Imagine again if it's rewarded. We want to encourage this as a country of sports, and Kenya is known the whole world. I just came from an overseas trip, and when I said I come from Kenya, I said, hey, that's a very good country, because of course of what we've had in Tokyo. Then we also should do the same thing with sports, with the football. Scarlett and of course Harambee Star should also be rewarded. And I want to ask the chairman of sports, who is sitting behind me, again to come up so that I can be able to move forward with this kind of thing. With those few remarks, I want to say I support this motion. I want to make it even in the, not only a motion, becomes a bill, so that I can be able to go further and be able to reward our children, our grandchildren, our equals to be able to, because at this age I can't run, I used to play football, but now I can't play. But my children, I think for information, Madam Speaker, one of our members of parliament here has sent his son to Spain to play football in Spain, because he's very good, and I saw the boy is doing very well. He's in Spain. He's about 14 years old. And very soon you see him actually playing for Spanish football team. So with those few remarks, let's move on.
Before you finish, one of us has sent me a message that you were running very fast on 24th of June, was it 25th of June 2024? You were seen running very fast. So we know you can still run. Don't say you can't run.
Madam Speaker, that is actually just to make my point very strong. I used to play football, but I didn't. Running is just part of what each one of us can do. Yes.
Thank you.
And in fact, she's just saying, not even interruption, but she's confirming that actually I ran very fast. I don't know where I was going to, but just to show that actually I can run. I should be rewarded. When this thing actually goes through, I want to get a gold medal. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I support this motion. We want to make it into a bill so I can be able to move forward and put our country onto the world map. I think that's what we should do. And thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Wanyonyi, you were running through the tunnel towards the Bunge Tower. Honorable members, we have guests this morning. We have students seated in the speakers gallery from Faro Schools, Embakasi Central Constituency, Nairobi. Please arise so that the house can recognize you. Thank you very much. You may be seated. We also have students seated in the public gallery this morning. Students from Uvaini Primary School, Yata, Constituency, Machakos County. We have students from Altuleta Comprehensive from Kajiado South Constituency in Kajiado County. And we have Sitam Schools, Makadara Constituency, Nairobi County. You are welcome to the National Assembly to continue observing proceedings of the House. Honorable members, I would like to invite the Honorable Abdi Shurie, Chairperson, Public Debt and Privatization Committee, so that he may table a report. Please take the opportunity to also invite all the students seated in the public and the speakers gallery.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 1st October 2025. Joint report of the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning and the Select Committee on Public Debt and Privatization on its consideration of the Privatization Bill, National Assembly Bill number 36 of 2025. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also wish to welcome all the students to the National Assembly. I think it's a rare opportunity to visit the National Assembly and witness the debate and how we make laws in this country. So I say, karibuni sana. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Chairman. The Honorable Agnes Pereio, member for Narok North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the motion by CNN. Sports is a talent, and it's a talent that can earn our youth a living. And supporting sports will mean that we are creating jobs for the youth. The youth will no longer be idle, because when they are idle, they think of other things to do. So there is need for the youth to be supported and for sports to be supported. We come from different regions, Madam Chair. We come from different regions and our talents are different. So I think it's time, Madam Speaker, to study other regions on what they can do best, so that they can be supported in what they can do best, and a talent that will support their families and support them. So I stand to support the motion and say that it is important that we look at the sports like a way of supporting our youth, because there are so many loitering in their villages and not doing anything. And if we can help them build their talents, then they can earn a living and they can support themselves. And for that reason, I support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. The Honorable Daniel Wanyama, Chairman and also member for Webuye. Chairman Sports.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want just to appreciate Honorable CNN for coming up with this motion. But as Honorable Ferdinand alluded to, I think it will add more value if we translate it to a bill, so that it becomes a law that whoever comes in will have no choice but just to implement it. Rewarding of sports persons who participate in international competitions is a great thing. And Kenya is always in the news on good reasons, particularly when sports is going on. And as it were, many who have been in sports those yesteryears have languished in poverty because there was no serious executive government that was in place that appreciated sports. We are only seeing it here now, and we know, and we are not so sure that after His Excellency William Samoei Ruto, we could not be sure of whoever comes in if he will engage in the same. And therefore, this motion comes very timely to iron out and to sort out the issues that sports persons have been having. I want to say that it should not be in a particular skewed way to reward them, but we want to make it sure that any person that represents Kenya in any discipline, this way of rewarding should actually cut across all the disciplines. As long as a person has been selected and participated in representing Kenya, either in volleyball, football, athletics, hockey, rugby, name it. As long as you wear the national color, as long as you carry out the national flag, you must be part and parcel of reward of this scheme. Because somehow, this time round, it is only maybe skewed on those who win medals. There are reasonable and quite a number of sports that do not award medals, but you only win a championship and you come back home. Therefore, all those disciplines must have a way of being rewarded. But most importantly, as we look at the reward of these players, what can be more sustainable and which will help these sports persons is actually having a reasonable insurance for them. Because also, it is very risky when you are a sports person. You may be in the field there, then when you are in action, you get an injury that will not be able to make you come back to playing again. Therefore, this scheme and this kind of reward should actually go further and therefore take care of those incidences just in case the worst happens. So I just want to thank Honorable CNN, and that as a committee, as it were, we will look forward and see that we translate this motion into a bill so that it becomes a law. And therefore, Treasury must be informed that even during the budget allocation, they must be able to allocate funds just towards this kind of reward system. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I think in the future, Parliament will consider making some longer microphones for tall people, like the Honorable Wanyama. Actually, we are struggling to hear him because he's far away from the mic. So maybe tall people like Honorable Wanyama will need a slightly longer mic. The Honorable Gladys Boss, member for Uasin Gishu County, please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First, I want to thank Honorable Charles Ngusia for this very, very timely and important motion. This motion, it's comprehensive. You have talked about being able to reward our athletes or our sportsmen and women when they do excel in behalf of the country and giving them some form of logistical support. But I want us to take your motion further. There are many challenges that athletes go through long before they become world champions. One of the key mandates of the Ministry of Sports is to nurture sports, to nurture sportsmen and women, not to celebrate them only when they have won. And that is where the problem lies. A lot of our athletes, you've talked about them being able to have psychosocial support. You've talked about them being able to have post-retirement medical cover. But the biggest crisis is the support that they need here and now. I have visited every athletics training camp in Uasin Gishu County, in Elgeyo Marakwet, and in Nandi County. And each of them, you hear the challenges that they go through. The athletes who are training to become world champions and don't even have shoes. They usually have one person run in the morning, Then, when the person comes back from running, they give the other one the shoes so that the other person hits the road to go for training. That's how bad it is. They don't even have the right clothing. Sometimes they don't even have food. On many occasions, I've supplied food to some of those young people who are there. Then there is the crisis of gender-based violence happening in our camps. I had the occasion to host women athletes at Eka Hotel in Eldoret, which was sponsored and supported by Absa Bank. And when we listened to the stories by the young women, they said, first of all, can we have just trained for us women physiotherapists to be in our training camps? Because sometimes when they have the physiotherapy done by the men, they do get abused. Just the way I'm entitled to ask for a woman to search me at the airport, these athletes should have
look for their own therapists. That they have a coach, they have a manager, but in case of an injury, there is no proper medical scheme, there is no proper medical insurance scheme, there is no proper medical facility for them to be treated or even to get therapy. And even sometimes out of frustrations, Honorable Speaker, they end up stopping, or quitting the talent midway. That is why this motion needs to be relooked at, even beyond the normal motion that we are debating here. And I call upon the committee that is mandated with matter sports, and that is the committee that is led by the one you called the tall man, that we should find a way to convert now this to a bill. And it will be supported fully by this House, Honorable Speaker. Every member will support, because it is timely. It is about time that we appreciate those people that fly our flags high. Honorable Speaker, I was actually reading this morning of sponsorships that are being done by our neighboring countries, Honorable Speaker, the Rwanda, that they've gone to an extent, Honorable Speaker, of marketing their country as a tourism hub outside the world, in stadia across the world, Honorable Speaker, that they're telling people, please visit us. And when I was reading it, Honorable Speaker, they said they want to raise their tourism revenue from $600 billion by close of this year, Honorable Speaker, to $1 trillion USD, Honorable Speaker. What does that show? That we've got a lot of things that, Honorable Speaker, we can be proud of as a country, ourselves, and it's about time that we seize the moments, because we have talent, we have young people who are ready to do to fly our flags high, but what they like is proper facilities, motivation, and support from government. It is very wrong, Honorable Speaker, that recently we saw one of our top athletes fly back after winning, Honorable Speaker. They were flying economy back to our country just the other day, with nobody receiving them at the airport, with nobody giving them motivation, Honorable Speaker. And it's very sad. And it goes straight even to their deathbed, Honorable Speaker. As we speak, Honorable Speaker, today, we have one athlete from Kases constituency, one Jairus Birich, who passed on the other day, Honorable Speaker. He had won the Commonwealth marathon the other day, Honorable Speaker, and brought this country a silver medal. But as we speak, nobody is celebrating him. He's being buried on Saturday. The Ministry of Sports has not given any report. They've not supported the family. But just the other day, we were celebrating him for flying our country, for raising our flag very high, Honorable Speaker. And it's very absurd. Those are the things that we also need to be thinking, Honorable Speaker. The pecuniary support, number one. Number two, we should think about their families beyond their lives when they leave this country, this world, Honorable Speaker. With those many remarks, I want to appreciate the Honorable CNN and reiterate, Honorable Speaker, that I do not look like Honorable CNN. I do not know this confusion where it comes from, Honorable Speaker. Because I know very well, Honorable Speaker, I look better than him. I don't know why people say that we resemble. And I want to say, we only resemble in brains, maybe, and I could be higher than him. But the point is, I do not look like him. And I refuse to look like him. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Soro. The Honorable Rindi Kiri Mugambi, member for Bori. Not Buri, but Bori.
Bori,
That matter, Whip, that matter will be debated at lunch.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Whether the Honorable Soro and the Honorable CNN look alike, and who between the two is more handsome than the other. Not in this house.
At 1 o'clock, you have my permission to discuss. Please proceed, Member for Buri.
Madam Speaker, the problem is that they both use cosmetics so that they can look the same. So it's a self-initiated look-alike. Madam Speaker, I join my colleagues to contribute to this great motion that has been brought about by Honorable CNN. Madam Speaker, sport plays a great role in this country. Madam Speaker, when I was growing up, I was a footballer, and now I'm a golfer. So I value any aspect related to sports. Madam Speaker, I visited a few of my schools the other day and I discovered that we are missing quite a lot because these children, our students, majority of them have no sporting facilities. Long time as we were growing up, PE, physical education, was a very serious lesson in many learning institutions. And Madam Speaker, people who are engaged in sports, they are very healthy. And I want to believe that in the process they perform very well academically. A country that is so much sports, you look at even their health is fairly better than where people don't do a lot of sports. Madam Speaker, sports brings a lot of income to our country. It creates jobs. Madam Speaker, sports attracts many visitors to our country. Sports, Madam Speaker, keeps our youth busy, or what we call social development among a youth. Madam Speaker, there is a lot of inclusivity. Our girls are now in sports. Our boys are now in sports. There's no longer a domain of men. Our girls are doing very well in terms of sport, and they need to be encouraged as such. Madam Speaker, this inclusivity is key to a country like ours, where people interact through sports, through athletics, through football, through basketball, through rugby, etc., etc. Madam Speaker, I want to believe that when we are doing very well in sports, the international community is very keen to come and see what is really happening here. What am I talking about? There are so many scouts who come here to scout about football, the best athletics, etc. Madam Speaker, it goes without saying then that we need to put a lot of emphasis on the aspect of sport. And I want to say this, and that's why I agree with the mover of the motion. There are so many disciplines of sports which we don't do in Kenya. We are very good in athletics. We have started coming up now in football. We have started coming up in rugby. We have started coming up in in volleyball. But there are so many other sports that we don't do. And that's the reason why we became number 2. Because in athletics, we are very good. So I think we need to ask ourselves, where did we go wrong? This is my point, Madam Speaker. We went wrong because we don't have a policy to manage the sport affairs in this country. And therefore, it's my feeling that this motion is coming handy, and actually it should come first as a bill, because we have to change so many things. Madam Speaker, let me bring to your notice and notice of these members. A lady from my place who has his 3 children, triplets, who have autism. And they were denied by Kenya Federation to go and compete last month and they were denied entry for the sports. These are disabled, category of disabled persons, and they are denied by a federation, meaning we don't have a clear policy to take care of all their threats. Madam Speaker, when these people go out there, they market Kenya. When these people go out there, it's a talent. There is an income thing. It is an inclusivity thing. It is a cohesive thing. So why have we learned this far without having a policy? I want to thank the mover, because right now we have to have it. And when we have it, it will be very clear. We shall have infrastructure set. The policy will bring in all the requirement for infrastructure that our talent require in terms of sports. Madam Speaker, if you check around, there are no stadiums. They are all focused in the big towns. The majority of our children and the youth, they're in the rural areas. So we have to put this policy. The policy should say every village in Kenya should have a stadium or at least a sporting facilities where our children are going to be practicing. Madam Speaker, we need decisions on how to facilitate these people. Some of them, even when they go to compete, they have to go to their mother and their fathers and even relatives to ask for money so that they can go and compete. And we know these people have talent. The youth have talent. So we need to be true citizens of this country by providing facilitation for these people in terms of the requirement, travel document, accommodation, visas, passport, etc., etc. And then the reward system. I heard some people saying that the president is giving too much money. At the president is giving 3 million, 4 million instead of doing this and that. Shame on those people. The president was giving out that money because he recognized these footballers are putting the map of this country on top. His Excellency has initiated a move in this country of promoting sports, and we want to support him. And I'm believing that even this policy will be put in place, because we need to reward these great men and women. We need to, not even 6 million, it's too small. There are countries that buy the athletics contracts. There are countries that buy mansions for these people in high-end areas. And that's what we need to tell these children, that you can play football, you can learn, you can do whatever in sports and make it in life. Mr. Speaker, we need to have all-out sporting activities encouraged in this country. We have to have golf for these young people. We have to have skating. We have to have swimming. We have to have all kinds of sporting activities that other countries are doing. We cannot be priding ourselves by limiting our talented people through only athletics and football. We must open doors for other sporting activities. Madam Speaker, I want to support this and say that we are ready. I think this can be looked in terms of a bill so that we can enact it and ensure that the future talent of this nation are given a lot of power. I want to thank the great people of Bori, because we have now a program for annexing talent in terms of sports and other activities. Thank you very much, the great people of Bori, for realizing that you can make money through sports. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, I decided to stick to the screen, but after the Honorable Rahim, I think we may want to purposively go to the left. The Honorable Rahim, member for North Imenti, and before you continue, let me take this opportunity to welcome our students from Our Lady of Fatma, Kiriko Girls, from Gatundu North Constituency, Kiambu County. Let's welcome to the House. You are welcome to the House to continue observing proceedings of the House. So the Honorable Rahim Dawood, you may continue, and we give you this opportunity to also welcome the students for us. You may be seated.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, first let me welcome the students of Our Lady of Fatima. Incidentally, my grandmother was called Fatima as well. So I'm very honored to welcome the school. Madam Speaker, I want to join my colleagues in supporting this motion by Honorable CNN, who is in my committee as well. I'm his vice chair. Madam Speaker, it is a good thing which he has proposed, but I believe we can go further, because this, we are only talking about recognizing the world athletes. What about the ones who are at the grassroots? We need to bring out the grassroots athletes together with the sports persons, men and women, because if we do not do that, then we will not get those for international. We need to recognize how sports academies can be done all over the country. Madam Speaker, this government has already started doing the sports academies, and I hope by 2027, many counties or most of the counties will have sports academies where we can nurture talent. But Madam Speaker, you being from a single constituency like myself and the others, most of us here, it is injustice to remove the sports kitty from the CDF, because that was the mainstay, how we could promote sportsmen and women or children to come up with performances which we could be proud of. But now removing that sports kitty from CDF, Madam Speaker, I think we as members of parliament, we need to talk to CDF and return it back so that at least we support. I wish to say something else, because, you know, motivation are of many kinds. We've got teams in Meru, football teams, who are doing very well, but unfortunately, the issue comes out that when they have to travel to go to matches away from Meru County or all over the country, it's very difficult for them to go. And I wish to even thank the Deputy President, Professor Kitore Kindeke. He did buy one of our football teams, Al Azizia, a bus so that they could make easier transportation. So I want to thank the Deputy President in his own way. He went out and gave a bus to Al Azizia Football Club. But the point here is, Madam Speaker, we need not just encourage the international stars, we need to encourage each and every athlete, each and every sports person, so that we can reach the height which is required. Yes, we need to give a facilitation to the athletes who are going, or the sports persons who are going out of this country. Maybe give them visas, faster visa processing, facilitation, and money as well. But let's even promote our own within the country, because if we do not do that, then we are not going to get the sports persons who go overseas. The other thing, Madam Speaker, is we need to see if there is a possibility of sports persons to be nominated by political parties so that they do not fall way off. If they are not politicians, the nomination slots should be even offered to sports persons, not just, you know, sometimes we do not do the right nominations in this country, but we need to even see how we can even nominate one or two sports persons so that at least we say we have taken care of them. With those few remarks, I join my colleagues and congratulate Honorable CNN in what he has done, but he should go further, and we need to have a policy where we are giving our sports persons much more than they are being given, not just outside the country, but within the country as well, and we build those sports academies. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much. The Honorable David Mboni, member for Kitui Rural.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And let's also say that I support this motion, but I wish this motion could be transformed to a bill which could be enacted. Because when you listen to members, what they are talking about policy issues. And the policy issues can only come from a bill. because there are so many issues which need to be addressed in the sports area. Madam Speaker, regarding sportsmen and women is very important. It requires a lot of time to train, a lot of commitment needed to engage in sports. Madam Speaker, it's even harder to train and participate at international level. Madam Speaker, I was in Japan when the World Championship was taking place. And you could see those people, how much they have trained, because it happened that I was going to do something else. But I also went to watch Kenyans running, participating in sports. And that day, we won 2 gold medals from 2 ladies. One gold medal from a lady, 5,000 meters, and 800 meters, and then a silver in 500 meters. So when you look at them, the effort they put, seriously, we need to recognize them. We need to reward them so that they can put more effort to win this country a lot of more goals. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, you know, when I was there, I could see how many people have gone to watch sports. And that's what you call sports tourism. Sports tourism. The country has earned a lot of money for that period. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so many people went to watch sports. And they spend a lot of in that country. So if you look at sports in terms of sports tourism, it's an economy by itself. Sportsmen, they are some of the most richest people in this country, as we speak, because the money they get when they are running is very important. It also promotes the image of the country. Because when I was there, people asked me, are you a Kenyan? The funny thing is that, Japanese are very short people. And you see, even here I'm tall. Can you imagine when I'm there among those short people? So therefore, the image, they could see I'm a Kenyan. I mean, are you a Kenyan? Those who can speak English. And, the Kenyans were rated very highly because it was number 2 with the 7 gold medals in the whole world. So the image, the image. And that's why the president, when he was in US, somebody was commenting that Kenya is the capital of Africa because of the sports. There are so many countries in this world who are not even known, right? So the image of those sports people, whatever they are doing there, is what is giving Kenyan a positive image in the world. And therefore, we need to support sports. But I also realize that time for sports people is very limited. I mean, most of them, they go up to 35 years. Beyond 35 years, you realize that anybody going beyond that 5 years, be it in running, be it in football, those ones in statistics, we call them outliers. So the time for sports, it cannot go beyond 15 years. And therefore, we need even to go further and train them in terms of financial management. There are so many of them. You read the newspapers. Some of them who are doing very well in sports, and they earned a lot of money. And because of because they could not understand how to manage their finances, they are suffering. And we need to actually to recognize those kind of people so that they also live a good lives. At times, some of them are hurt, and they stop participating in sports when they are very young. So when I'm talking about policy, those are kind of the issues we should take place. When somebody is hurt, how does the country come in and support the lives of that person? And especially if that person was competing and was hurt in the line of duty, how do we support that person? I've read a lot of them who have lost everything from conmen who pretend to support them in terms of financial management. They are suffering. They are traumatized. They are depressed. You know, how do we take care of these kind of people? It's important we set up academic sports training academies in each and every county. And that's why I was saying we need a bill so that it's a policy that each county should have an academy. You know, before we used to have a CDF, we used to support sports, and that is gone. So in absence of CDF, whatever CDF was supported, the little it was doing, who is filling that gap? So we need to think about how do we fill that gap? How do we have sporting academies, and so that we can tap talents at the local level. Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I support.
Thank you very much, Member for Kitui Rural. The Honorable Olive Gisairo, Member for Kitutu Masaba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Just a correction, my name is Clive, so that I don't get named Olive. Honorable Speaker, I would like to thank Honorable CNN for bringing this timely motion. I know he has been telling me about this motion being on the order paper for the last almost 3 months. I know the passion he has had to try and have this motion in this floor because of the importance that it carries. Honorable Speaker, with the start of CBE and moving away from 844, it was felt like sports should be taken more seriously, right from a very young age. And that is why it was being brought on board more comprehensively in the education sector. Honorable Speaker, funny enough, and this is something we'd like to ask our teachers out there. A few weeks ago, as one of the committees that I serve were going around schools, in every grade 9, we were asking students how many are choosing to take STEM in the senior school. Almost all students were saying they selected preference in STEM. Performing arts and where sports are, very few students. But we all know that not all students are wired towards the STEM. There are young boys and girls who their system is purely sports. And we'll also need to urge our parents out there that it's not all children who are born to excel in class. We have children who do not perform very well in class, but on the field are excellent personalities. But we'll also try to understand why parents will try to be hard on the children, telling them that they should put focus in class and stop playing games outside. Because in Africa, sports does not pay. Sport is not recognized. Sport does not have a reward system. And that is what Honorable Charles Ngusia is asking us to consider. Can we have sports having a reward system across board? And let it not only be rewarding those who represent the country on international competitions. This reward system should be able to be felt right from the grassroots. The moment we start seeing that sports is paying, we will see our young, talented youths taking sports very seriously. We'll also see investors investing in sports facilities because the uptake will be higher. We'll have sports academies. But currently, even if you are to open a sports academy, how many children believe that sports will pay? How many have we seen sports pay? In 10 sports people, only one, or sometimes none, comes out successful. We need a comprehensive reward system. Honorable Speaker, I listened to the Honorable Member of Bogori saying some people are criticizing the president. We cannot criticize the president. At the moment where we were hosting such a big tournament, the president had no other option. He had to inspire the boys. And we saw the fruits. But Kenya, being as politicized as it is, the moment it comes from that angle, the other half will always politicize it. And that is why we have to have it in a formal way that doesn't have to put any political leader at a point where he has to bring it, and therefore it is misconstrued to be a political gimmick. Honorable Speaker, politicization, of course, in sport has been used as a tool in this country. And that is because we don't have proper guidelines that ensure that sport is properly guided, sports is properly run. While we motivate those in football, what happens to the athletes? What happens to the volleyballers? What happens to the swimmers? It is that lack of consistency that will always let others feel that they are marginalized, that some talents are marginalized. Honorable Speaker, this country has enough resources to reward our sports people. Any discussion away from that we do not have resources, is false. If we are to put all the resources that are misused in this country to start sports academies, right from primary schools, secondary schools, we will save millions of young people. These are young people who, once they become international elite sports persons, will bring a lot of foreign exchange into this country. This is an industry that a country like Kenya can invest in because the results are open to be seen by all. We have our sports persons being bought by the Qataris because we are not doing our part. And as legislators, we need to stand up and protect the youths by ensuring that we provide the systems that protect them. That Honorable Gusia kindly have this be upgraded to be come into this floor as a bill, so that once it is passed, we will have our sports persons in every financial year being budgeted for. The estimates will be there, and our youths will know once they represent this country, they will also have something to be proud of. You can never be proud of a country that does not feed you. We need to protect them, provide opportunities for them, and ensure they are able also to afford proper living standards, just like those of their classmates who excelled in academics. Honorable Speaker, I'll finish there, and I thank Honorable Ngusia for this motion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Beatrice Kemei, member for Kericho County.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to be able to support this motion by Honorable CNN about the formulation of a reward scheme for accomplishments by sports persons in international competitions. And I want to thank the Honorable Member for bringing it forth this is a very, very important motion, but I feel it should go beyond being just a motion. It should be upgraded and translated into a bill. Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Member for Kericho, let me disrupt you very slightly to welcome students seated in the public gallery this morning from Kitengela International School, Kajiado East Constituency, Kajiado County. You are welcome to the National Assembly to observe the proceedings of the House, and while you debate, please take the opportunity to invite them or to appreciate them.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to most sincerely welcome the students from Kitengela International School. And I want to believe, Honorable Speaker, that it is very timely for the students to listen to the sports so that when they are in school, they will learn that apart from the academic side, we also have the co-curriculum activities, and I want to encourage them to participate in the same. And as much as they learn many other things, they participate in co-curriculum activities. I'm sure they will even go beyond Kenya. They will be part of the international people who will be able to celebrate. So once more, welcome to Parliament. Learn and follow the proceedings, and yearn to be one of the members of Parliament from your areas or from your constituencies and counties. Welcome once more. Honorable Speaker, on the onset, I want to say that sports are very, very important, as it is stated very clearly. It is mainly participated by the young people. And these young people love sport. Not only the young people, all of us love sport. And that is why most of the time, when we have the international competitions, we are all fixed and skewed to the TV. Everybody wants to watch. You see people standing and shouting. You may not even know who are young and who are not. So sports play a very important role in our lives, in our families, in our country. And when I look at many of our members who participate in sports, especially when we also have our own sports, you'll realize that even the same CNN is one of them. And that is why it's so slim, and I also believe it is out of that is even well groomed. So we learn so much from sports. Honorable Speaker, looking at these sporting activities in Kenya, many of our young men and women, those who have gone to international competitions, they have whatever little they earn from there, it has supported their families. Noting that most of these young people come from humble background. I know of some of them, like Beatrice, who has built a house for their parents. She comes from Kericho, particularly Kipkelion. She's built a very nice house for the parents. So if they are even now supported with what CNN has said here, financial motivation and financial reward, I am sure they will do more than expected. Noting that these are young people, I also feel that it is one of the areas of their concern. It can be like employment. Now that they can be employed as a sport person, they earn something. If they can get something like a stipend, and then the rewards, I know many of them will choose to be sport people, even with the CPC that we have at the moment. So, Honorable Speaker, apart from that, I would say that before we talk about the international competitions, we need to encourage and motivate our sport people, the athletes, those who play ball games, even at a tender age, and even in their counties, and even from the constituencies. Because before going to the international, for international competitions, they start from within. So we need to motivate them, Honorable Speaker. And in one of the ways of motivating is to have their environment the training camps to be conducive and ready for good use. Honorable Speaker, most of these training camps are private. And in those training camps, I must confess that these young people are actually living in conditions that are wanting. They don't have even beddings, blankets, mattresses, and sad for us, even girls, in most of the time, may not have the sanitary towels. And in Kericho, when I visit those training camps, I actually carry sanitary towels for them. And they confide that they are in dire need of the same. Not to forget issues of food. And if they don't eat well, they may not be very strong to train well. I also want to say the sporting gear is what they also need to have. The shoes, the clothes, and all that is required. I also want to mention that some of our girls or women in these training camps are exploited sexually. It is very unfair, very unfortunate, and if there's anything that we can do, we need to do it now. So, and especially those who are their coaches. It is not that if they are supposed to be trained and trained well, they are supposed to be exploited. It is very unfair. And maybe to add on that, Honorable Speaker, I also feel sad that some of these women are actually suffering from psychological issues. Those who are married, their husbands actually beat them, that is sexual and gender-based violence, and therefore, I wish that we can, as much as we are concerned with rewarding them, they also need support. We need to listen to them. They need actually to be supported in a way that they can confide. We need counselors for them. I also want to say that they need to be trained. That is, and in terms of how to use the money that they get, financial management.
The Honorable Jalango.
The allegations that the Honorable Member is putting out there are very graphic.
First of all, what is out of order, Honorable Jalango?
No, she does
I'm just being very magnanimous.
She does not have evidences about these things. You can't blanketly just name and say coaches and being abused. Those are things you can't just say unless you also have evidence. And also now when you bring in GBV, gender-based violence on these athletes, at least let's just stick to what you are saying, and unless you have evidence on some of the things and allegations you're saying, some of our coaches might feel very bad after this beautiful performance in Tokyo. Thank you. So bring evidence.
Well, you're raising a point of order on being, truthful, factual. So are you trying to put her on spot to be able also to give examples of people who have been sexually abused by a coach or maybe talented people, maybe runners, who have also gone through GBV? Are you putting her on the spot to be able to give evidence?
Yes, Madam Speaker, that she'll be able to give such evidence on what she's saying, and stick to the bill for now, and give evidence where necessary, so that the culprits can also be followed. Because when you talk about sexual abuse, when you talk about gender-based violence, those are just not allegations you just throw around. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
But even as I get it for record purposes, I would like to tell you that I was listening to her. And she's very good in doing her research on matters that she presents in this house. And earlier, we have also debated in this house concerning the tea estates in Kericho and matters of GBV. So I believe that she'll not have a challenge. And for that reason, I'm going to add another 2 minutes so that as you present this, you take the challenge that you have been given by the Honorable Jalas so that you can give evidence. But that is based on standing order 91. Honorable Jalango did not even give us a standing order. 91, a member shall be responsible for accuracy of all facts which the member alleges to be true and may be required to substantiate at any such facts instantly. So I think you proceed and make him comfortable by giving him some situations where GBV has happened to our experts, our talented people.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to tell my good brother and friend that it should be prior to the information of what is happening in this country. The Deputy Speaker was here. She spoke to the same. Even Agnes Tirop, she was tapped. So I believe you should be knowing what is happening. It is not out of nothing. And Honorable Speaker, you are aware that some of these people who go through sexual and gender-based violence because of stigma may not come out. They confide to us, and therefore I have information. I'm not talking out of nothing, but I have information. So please do your research. Unless you are actually one of the coaches or you know some of these coaches who are doing that, you want to protect them. So be careful on the same. And in any case, Honorable Speaker, he didn't even mention the standing order. So he was just pointing on nothing. So allow me to continue, Honorable Speaker, on the same, noting that the financial reward is very important, the 6 million. I don't know how you arrived at the 6 million. If it were me, I would say we could even go more. The 4 million for the gold medalist, 3 million for silver. This is great, 2 million. This one is a motivation to the athletes. Apart from that, we are also talking about the medical cover, and especially after retirement. You know, they cannot be athletes for life. They need this medical cover. They need protection, the social protection. And I'm so happy with the president, knowing that when we had the sports here, the Paul games here, he promised our young people the housing. So if we can also go for the same, it will serve us well. So I want to support this bill and say, may it be changed or may it be improved into this motion and may it be improved into a bill. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Member for Kericho. The Honorable Dorothy Ikiara, nominated member.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I too would wish to join my colleagues and thank Honorable CNN for bringing this very important and timely debate to this House. Honorable Speaker, this debate is coming at a time when we are celebrating our heroes and heroines who brought glory and honor to our country from Tokyo just recently. Honorable Speaker, winning the 11 medals and gold medals also cumulatively is not something that we should not celebrate, and we should celebrate them, Honorable Speaker, and even reward them. As I say this, Honorable Speaker, I too would wish to thank His Excellency the President of the Republic of this country, because he has shown the way. When Tanya was playing in Kasarani, he took his time to go watch the match and he encouraged them. Motivation, Honorable Speaker, and this is what lacks. I dare say, Honorable Speaker, that a majority of our Kenyan population are talented people. The only thing that we lack, Honorable Speaker, is we start encouraging them at a very late stage in life. Honorable Speaker, I want to cite, having been a teacher, I have taught in the lowest level. I've taught in class 1. Honorable Speaker, as a teacher, I would identify a threat from a very young age. I would also identify a child who is talented in drama. I would identify a child who would be a footballer. But because of the nature of the way our education was tailored, Honorable Speaker, and even the funding, and even lack of motivation, all these talents would just go to the drains, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm saying I am very happy today because His Excellency the President stuck with the competence-based curriculum. Honorable Speaker, today we call it CBE. And this CBE is giving our Kenyan children an opportunity because the education system itself is going in 3 pathways. And one of the pathways is heart and talents, Honorable Speaker. And when I listened to a member here saying they went and did a on-spot check to our children in grade 9, and they realized that a majority of the children are saying they want to do STEM. And the reason is very clear, Honorable Speaker. It is because even we as parents, when a child comes and tells you, I want to go and play football, every day you tell them, no, I want you to take your books and go and read. When a child comes and says, I want to go for drama, some parents decline. When a child wants to be a singer, you tell them you cannot be a DJ in my house. Honorable Speaker, let us start nurturing talents at an early age. Let us encourage our children, even in our own houses. If you identify that your child is talented in one way or the other, let us encourage them so that in future we cannot struggle with identifying who can do what. Honorable Speaker, as we speak about a formulation policy of rewarding accomplishments of those that represent Kenya internationally, I want to draw back and say we must start encouraging those at the grassroots. I want to see Honorable Rahim Daudi today encouraging and motivating and rewarding all the football teams in North Imenti. I want to see every other MP today rewarding and motivating all the talented girls who are playing volleyball, all the learners, all the other sectoral games that are played in our constituencies. And the only way this can happen, Honorable Speaker, I know in the NGCDF, the funding for sports was removed. It is the high time that this House rises to the occasion and demands a return of the sports fund so that we can be able to walk the talk, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to say it is very unfortunate. Even us seated here in Parliament today, we are talking about the sportsmen and women. Members of Parliament come to this House. They are the ones who formulate these laws and the policies that we are talking about. But Honorable Speaker, we don't even think of these great men and women who sat in this House to formulate laws and policies for the others. Where do they go after leaving this House? So as we think of going back to look for the champions, and I really support this so much, Honorable Speaker. I support in every way possible. I want to say this policy must be formulated as early as yesterday, so that we don't talk about something that we'll discuss in this House, and years later, we still come here to discuss the same item. Honorable Speaker, I want to say Honorable Ngushia tried. He was attempting to give the amount that we can give as reward, 6 million, which is very little. We should have a proper bill so that if we can't put all this money there, so that even successive governments, the day our beloved president will not be the president of the Republic of Kenya, this motivation, this amount of money that will be documented will always benefit the sportsmen and women who fly the flag of our country high. Honorable Speaker, for record, it's important for you to know, wherever you go in this continent, in the Kenya, in Africa, and even beyond Africa, the entire world, the minute you mention you come from Kenya, everybody equates you to a sportswoman or sportsman. And we carry that pride wherever we go. There is a time I even boasted somewhere and told them I play netball. But because during my school time, I had the height, I had the energy, I had the stamina. But because my parents were telling me, Modoni, if I see you going running there to play these funny games, I'm going to cane you. This is why I lost my talent of becoming an excellent footballer. I mean a netballer. Honorable Speaker, I want to say the formulation of this reward policy will do several things. Honorable Speaker. Number one, it will stimulate also the private sector sponsorship and partnership by demonstrating to the government the commitments of sports excellency. It will also create a transparent and standardized system that will ensure recognition for all deserving athletes. It will not be exceptional. Any deserving athlete, and I have said and I insist, from an early age up to the championship level that we are talking about. It will also reinforce the positive socioeconomic impact of sports by encouraging athletes to serve as role models and ambassadors for our country, Kenya. Honorable Speaker, I really want once again to thank Honorable CNN and encourage him to go a step further and ensure that this particular debate, after we pass it, it becomes a bill so that it can benefit our children who are talented. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I submit.
Thank you very much, Dorothy. The Honorable Julius Ruto, member for KSS.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. I rise to speak about this motion, but even before I do that, allow me to take this sad moment to pay tribute and condolence to the family of one, the former athlete, Jairus Pirech, whom we all know in 2014, he was African gold medalist, World African Championship gold medalist. He was also Glasgow Commonwealth Games silver medalist, and he also won the Diamond League in 2014. As we are talking now, the family bereaved. The burial will take place on Saturday 4th in Keses, my constituency, and therefore I want to pay this tribute to the family and the entire athletes fraternity and the sportsmen and women of Kenya. Madam Speaker, this particular motion is very critical because for quite some time, we as country Kenya, we've been taking sides only during the events is when we get that excitement and celebrate about them. Immediately after the sport or an activity, we forget about them. The only thing we see is when they are training in the field or in the roadside. Remember, most of them have also gone through challenges during training because some of those long distance runners require facilities which they don't have. So they've been running alongside with the vehicles, and you can imagine the exposure they are getting through in the midst of pollution of the road with the trucks and machinery which are moving on the road. Madam Speaker, there are some questions that it really have to be asked. that as a country, Kenya, what is our position as far as sports is concerned? How much do we value? Where have we placed sports? Because until and when we ask ourselves that question, then all this remains to be theoretical discussion. If at all we have given the position it should be as one of our value, that we are able to grow our economy, like other countries. Right now, I'm sure if we begin to discuss about soccer here, especially the Premier League, we discuss about the Euro Cups, you know, most of us here, we are fans. In fact, we are very loyal fans. Some of them we are fanatic. To an extent, we even cause harm and we fight amongst ourselves when it comes to competition. And we've made those countries earn a lot through those sports. Most of these programs that are being sponsored, mega companies sponsor those activities. They get a lot of money when they sponsor those sports in those countries. In fact, it is one of the main market facility or security that is being traded because of sports. But for Kenya, imagine we are being discussed that at the Tokyo, just concluded World Championship. Kenya is known in the world being the second after America. You know, the only second country after America that scored almost 7 goals. You know, we were number 2. And that is the end of the story. The way they walked in Kenya, I even saw some fun. The way the marathon lady, when she came in, she came through the economic class. You know, the way we treat them. We want to celebrate the code. We want to share that code. We want to share that pride. I saw Honorable Mboni says he was in attendance, and the way the whole field was excited. The question is, what is our thinking as a country about sports? Until and when we define that, so that whenever we are discussing our development plans, medium-term economic plans, whenever we are talking about our Agenda 2030, our Agenda 2050, what and how are we treating sports as one of our key element or sector that can boost our country, that can grow our country? When are we going to cause the whole world to decide to come over to this country to either participate, to either train, to either watch? We saw the other day during the Chan, when the country was hosting, and the way the president came in and decided to motivate by himself, by attending and talking to those boys, the way they grew, and all of a sudden, the politics of the country and the region, I mean, it became a discussion, it became a topic. In East Africa, in Africa, I mean, for some time, Kenya was fell, and even the whole nation, even the people alone. There before, there were a lot of chit-chat about politics. But when Chan came in, all of a sudden we saw patriotism grew for Kenyans across the divide. To tell us, we've been concentrating on the wrong side of our development, of our focus. When about sports that touches on the young people, the talents of the people, the nation rose. We saw the peace. We saw the country getting excited. We saw the love among Kenyans. I'm trying to say it is time we think as this house and put proper laws that is going to protect the athletes, it's going to protect sports, it's going to give attention. The way we give attention to affordable housing, the way we give attention to share, the way we give attention to the other disciplinary agriculture, we need to give attention to sports. It is going to grow our talent. It is going to give a pathway to our children. We are going to grow. I come from a city, we call ourselves the city of champions. If you come to Eldoret today, you will be able to witness mega structures, business entities, business youths and blocks, and you will be told this is for this athlete, this is for this particular athlete, this is for Eliud Kipchoge, this is for so and so. I mean, the economy in Eldoret is critically 70% run by the sportsmen and women. And if it is happening in Eldoret, why can it not happen in Kisii? Why can it happen in Nyanza? I saw a lady from Oma Bay. She won gold, and my good friend Karoli Omondi is here. I saw them going to celebrate Odera. I mean, besides the fishing economy, they are now venturing into sport economy. So, Bwana Ngusha, we want to say thank you. This is a time, this house, we need to look at our budget when we are discussing our budgetary plans. What are we giving to sports? Because it's the only thing that we have that can position us, beside that tourism of animals there. Lastly, to the ministry, as I've said, as I condole with the family, it is unfortunate, Madam Speaker, that up to now, I don't know whether the PS, whether the CS are aware that they have lost one athlete who has one time gave glory to Kenya. None has ever discussed, even to pay tribute to the family, leave alone to support the family when they are in it now. Not even a shilling. I've just come from conducting a fundraiser on Saturday where we were able to get whatever we can to support the family, comfort them. I mean, when they win, you want to celebrate them. When they are mourning, we don't understand with them. I want to condemn this one and call upon the ministry to take decisive action, even to pay the family visit and go and condole them, to show, to demonstrate that indeed what they are running in their ministry is all about the athletes, other than their own interest. And lastly, the other day we saw
the sharing of the sports academies. And I want to say that I'm sorry to speak about this. And the person who was in charge, the minister then who was there, apparently comes from our region, where he knows very well our main agenda and the talent of our people in sports. We saw the way the sports academy were being distributed so skewedly. I mean, sometimes we take this local politics to a level that we even want to interfere with our positions when we are given position of trust. The way those sports academy were distributed, one county is taking everything, a county like Wasingishu, only given one, just by value, only one just to cover. And we know that if there is anything, if you come to a lorry today in the morning, every morning, all our children are on the roads. Can we for sometimes put resources where it is deserved? When you are given a position, tafadhali, you should not use your political agenda, your own plans, your own thinking about future. Make sure that you run the country together so that together we share this. With that much I have said, Mr. Speaker, now that the Speaker has changed, I want to say pole sana to the family, and I want to ask this House, whenever you get an opportunity, let us console with that family. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Adan Keinan is recognized to contribute.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, this is a very important motion, but it's good we are honest with ourselves. Do we need a motion urging the government at this time? Mr. Speaker, when I was first elected, and I want to remind my good friend CNN here, we are past this stage. Under the old constitution, when the House business used to be dominated by senior ministers, and when the democratic space actually was limited to the whims of the executive, we used to have similar motions urging the government. This is good. It's too populist. It's extremely good. The catch is it creates a bit of information to the public. As much as I really want to commend my good brother here, the content is extremely good. It's encouraging. I want to urge you, and it's almost certain, by the grace of God, that we are going to pass this. This is one stage of this. Bring the bill, amend the relevant statutes, walk the talk, so that these great people of sportsmen and women benefit from the generosity of this great nation. Mr. Speaker, as advice to my brother here, because urging the government, we have been urging the government, nothing happens. We have been singing this, bring the bill. I brought that bill on conferment of national honors, which used to be a privilege for the politically correct. Today, you as a member of parliament, you have been honored because of the role that you do. And I know that my good friend Dindu Yoro was honored the other day. That was my bill. And I did it under very difficult circumstances because one morning, somebody decided to honor all his siblings and friends and whatever. I didn't sleep that night in 2010, 2012. I brought that bill. It worked. Everybody benefits. This is one thing that you need to do. So this is good. Let's come back to the substance. So, Speaker, at times, I find myself in a very awkward position. This country is privileged. We have everything. We have created an international niche as a country of great sportsmen and women. Just like some few years back, we were known as a country of coffee and tea. That is gone. It is no longer the menu of the international community. If anything, our tea is coffee, and our tea and coffee is used for blending other coffee and teas produced in other parts of the world. Today, if you go to Ireland, if you go to UK, our coffee is used to blend in other coffees, which means we have lost the brand. These sportsmen and women, these talents are God-given talent. Where my friend comes from, DK, and where I've also had the privilege of having gone to school, and I was there for over 6 years, the opportunity is there. The atmosphere is pregnant with individuals who are prepared to excel in this. But unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, we have only made a paper tiger. The other day, my friends from the lake were celebrating the first, what are the full names? What was her name? Odinga. And some of them were saying this is a product of the broad-based government. But a product of the broad-based. I totally agree. We need to celebrate. But how many other people from that region have the talent and yet they have not been appreciated, they have not been given the opportunity? Isn't it the high time that we as the leadership, Kenya is a brand. A brand, and Mr. Speaker, we have close to 186 countries. Why do we have countries with unique international brand? What's our brand as a country? Our brand has been coffee, tea, it's lost. Our brand now is sportsmen and women. Can't we take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, and expand that so that Kenyans, and in fact it doesn't cost a lot. We have wasted a lot of resources over the years. I see a number of sessional papers. Those are useless papers. Useless papers developed by some Mandarins in the ministries, tailor-made for the whims of that particular moment. We need to think out of the box. So I want to urge you, you have brought this. These things are very good. What are the benefits? International brand, employment opportunities, you know it right now. There's serious underemployment in this country. What is better than allowing the youth to critically appreciate their talents, and they can combine. You can be a great sportsman and woman and still remain a doctor professionally. That's the first thing. Employment creation. Talents as a source of foreign exchange, Mr. Speaker. My friend here, MP, my MP, that's where I've gone to school, MP for Moi University. And very soon we'll hold you to account why you have allowed Moi University to go down the drain. Very soon will come, all of us. We are regrouping. Products of Moi University, we are coming to your village and we'll hold you to account why you have allowed Moi University to go down the drain under your leadership. So get ready. Our numbers are thousands right now, hundreds of thousands. We are coming. And if you don't do something, we will ask you, I don't want to go to the next level. So be on the side. Mr. Speaker, we are coming. No. Before we say two-term, you must demonstrate leadership that Moi University is back to its former position, because that's a great university. Mr. Speaker, the other bits, we are struggling. We are running to IMF. We are running to World Bank. We are running to the African Development Bank. And yet we have our own local banks in the name of talents, in the name of good sportsmen and women. So what we require is special funds. These funds have been there. Are they serving the purpose? These are the things that you need to inquire into. Mr. Speaker, in addition to the physical health, a healthy nation is, what do we say? A working nation. That's why today, I'm sure in the morning you are somewhere in the field. I'm sure in the morning I beat a bit of press up here and there. Simply because as I age, there are certain things that you also need to avoid. Isn't it this natural? They are there everywhere. It is in the genes of particular communities. And you know, maybe they discovered this. There's something called the Hamitic myth, I think you must have had. Once upon a time when we were trying to migrate, and you know in that migration people were confused. Some came from the Congo forest, some others came from the Baal Ghazal region. In the process of trying to acquire and shape our final district, and before we identify ourselves as part of this sovereign Republic of Kenya, each community came with its own talents. Me as a cable herder, Mr. Speaker, that is a distinctive feature of a person from the Hamitic community, from the Kushaiti community. Somebody else from DK and where they come from, they have been given these talents. Where you come from, you have skills in fishing. Somebody else has skills in where my good friend Din Yoro comes from. You know also where they specialize in. All these combined is what is supposed to project that image of the Premier Republic of Kenya. And therefore, it's my responsibility, Mr. Speaker, with that distinctive background as a cable ladder, to infuse that international culture and pride myself as a cable ladder and say, look, this is the Kenyan brand. This is the way we are supposed to promote Kenya. This is the way we are supposed to project Kenya. This is the way we are supposed to protect Kenya. And that is the image of the sovereign Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. And that is what gives us a national identity, and that's what's supposed to give us an international brand. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately right now, each one of us has become an inward-looking village men and women. Go back there. I come from this community. This is my village. How are we going to excel? Yesterday we had a function, we were told, and you know this, in 1968, Kenya was a donor nation to the newly independent Botswana, to South Korea. We have still stuck there. Every morning politics. The media awash with politics. When are we going to stand up and say Kenya needs to move from where we are as a country that has stagnated with a dirty politics, Mr. Speaker? Dirty ethnic and regional-based politics, to a country that looks to the future of this great generation. We have been interested. We talk about the Gen Zs. This facility, Mr. CNN, don't urge the government. Come with a bill. Think out of the box. Provide the modus operandi on how to fund, how to support them, and that is what is going to assist. Mr. Speaker, the other benefits is the cultural and sports diplomacy, Mr. Speaker. You know, for the first time in the history of this country, we have a written foreign policy, Mr. Speaker. And one pillar is cultural and sports diplomacy, Mr. Speaker. How are you going to attain this without a proper platform? Without a proper, appreciation of those who are already there. Mr. Speaker, Kenya is a responsible, and this is the word, a responsible member of the international community, Mr. Speaker. And we have paid the price. That's why we have excelled in one of the things that we have done. So I want to urge you, this is very good. It's really, we are already late. I want to urge you, come with a bill. I want to also commend you. Don't wait for
We'll give Honorable Kenan 1 minute to conclude.
At times, Mr. Speaker, we are disadvantaged because we know a lot. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, I want to say this. This is not supposed to be the house of lamentation. This is supposed to be the house of action. This is not supposed to be the house of lamentation. Mr. Speaker, the budget making process is under our bid. The legislative framework is under our mandate. We oversight. Now that you have brought this CNN, and you will go in history. You will go in history because once we walk the talk this, I'm sure Kenyans will appreciate you. Look, go back to the entire sporting legislative infrastructure, the funding infrastructure, the modus operandi, and let's give, for the first time, an approach, financial, legislative, legal, moral support that befits the support a responsible state is supposed to give to its struggling sportsmen and women. I thank you and I support.
The Honorable David Kiplagat, MP Soy.
Thank you for that compliments. Honorable Speaker, allow me to contribute to this very important motion that talks about how to look after our athletes who have actually made this country to have a name. And thank you, Honorable CNN, for coming up with such a motion. It is indeed time that as a country, we have a policy through an act of parliament that rewards our athletes. Our athletes have done a lot in terms of marketing this country, in terms of giving this country a name, in terms of even bringing in cohesion among the various spheres of our communities. You saw recently during the CHAN championships, when all the leadership, led by none other the president himself, was able to support Harambee Stars, and all Kenyans from all walks of life, young, old, were able to rally behind our football team. And I dare say, if you saw the winners, that is Morocco, whom we had defeated, chances are we could have also become the winners of that cup by just giving that morale, by just giving them a compensation package when they do well. So it follows that if we are going to universally implement the same in all spheres of our sports activities, athletes, football, rugby, all those sports that have made a name for the country, it is high time we have a policy so that those men and women who have excelled really know that their country loves them, and for the entire of their life, they can stay comfortably in this country. Imagine a country where our sports have made a name, but we don't have a comprehensive medical cover for our athletes, for our sportsmen, so that what Honorable CPA was talking about, we lost an athlete who had made a name in this country. But because of time, you know, when time is a factor in the remembrance, in remembering these athletes. Because of time, nobody remembers him. We have even lost a former member of parliament for Mkwen, Elijah Lagat, who was an accomplished marathoner. He even won, was it Chicago Marathon or which? I will check. I don't want to be misquoted. Boston Marathon. You can imagine. And right now, I can tell you, that honorable member of parliament, he has no comprehensive package for medical scheme. Even as members, you remember the other day, we were talking about how to make sure that in case you don't make it back, at least you can go and stay at home with dignity because you will have a comprehensive medical scheme. There is nothing in life that can count more than having a well medical cover. So those are areas we can start with. We have sports tourism. I remember the Camarine Stadium in Elgeyo Marakwet. All the sportsmen in this world who are athletes, they come there. They think that if they run there, they can be able to win. I remember there was an athlete, a famous one in Britain. He used to come and train there. Even Usain Bolt has come there. So, if we can be able to capture the sports tourism and be able to use the funds, just like the sports fund, be able to use the funds to compensate and to make the life of our athletes be better, so that we don't react by chit-chat reaction. You know, when there's something, all of us, we balloon through it, and when that event goes, it is forgotten. We need to be very systematic. So we really support this motion, that it has to be taken into an extra length, where now we come up with a policy, we come up with a legal framework on how our athletes are going to be compensated, are going to make sure that as they stay in this, you can remember Kiptum. Kiptum died, he didn't even have a house. We had to build a house within 2 weeks. I remember Honorable Professor Barto here. We had, everybody had to run around to make sure that at least Kiptum has a house. But nobody right now knows how is the family doing. Okay, we built them a house. So how is the family doing? I'm being told it is doing badly because we made that event for the cameras and things like that, and then they are forgotten. But we are not accusing anybody. We are just saying, let us have a framework, let us have a legal framework in which our athletes who have made a name for this country are going to be recognized. And we really want to thank the president. He is #1 sportsman in this country. I can see what is happening to the boy child in the last Tokyo championships. Every winner for gold was a lady. Every winner for gold was a lady. I remember the 90s. The 90s, the boys were doing very well. But now, even attaining the 2 for the boy child in the Tokyo became unheard of. What has happened? It seems there is something that we are not investing in this country to make sure we can be able to train talent, we can be able to preserve our land, we can be able to make sure that we develop that talent until we make sure that, in fact, there used to be steeplechase. You remember the 3,000 steeplechase? We used to know, even when you sleep and wake up, Kenyans are going to win. But nowadays, all the meanderings are coming and people from Ethiopia, from where are winning finally. So we also need to protect the boy child when it comes to these athletes, because what I saw in the Tokyo is anything to go by. It is the girl child who gave us the name. Where are our boys? Where are our boys? And lastly, our athletes, they get a lot of revenue when they go and run professionally outside there. But we don't have a system that we can be able to train the young men and women so that they know when they get that money, how are they going to invest so that they can be able to eat on their investment. Because you can imagine, I used to tell somebody when I first got my job in the University of Nairobi, I used to tell somebody during the first 5 days of the month, I am hyper, you know, the boys after just finishing campus. I am hyper until that money has been reduced to manageable levels. You know what I mean by manageable levels? Because if I've given 100,000 and I've never seen 100,000, I will run around to reduce until when I see now it is 20,000, I start budgeting. Now I'm remaining with 20 days. I need to be spending 1,000 per day to make sure I can see off. The same thing happened to athletes. If they get like 20 million, somebody has never seen 20 million. He thinks he has owned the whole world. He start going hyper. You buy a very flashy vehicle, you buy a very what? The next day you have an injury, you can't run, you have a V8 there, you have a what there that you can't dispose, and all of a sudden you turn into a pooper again. You get? It is high time that as the Ministry of Sports, they need to get serious. They need to develop an academy where they can be able to train our athletes so that when they get this money, they know that they don't need to be hyper. They are just going to invest so that after 10 years, they will regroup their investment and they will be able to enjoy for life. That becomes very beautiful. With those few remarks, I support the motion and I think we should move it further so that it becomes a legal framework for assisting our athletes. Thank you.
The Honorable Dr. Phyllis Bato and honorable members, because of time, you can compress your contributions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have been waiting here since morning, and I got surprised when my colleague DK got a chance, and CPA Ruto got a chance when they were sitting next to me, and he's talking about, and I want to dissociate myself with the sentiments of DK for saying that it is a problem when the girl child wins a gold medal at the expense of a boy child. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to congratulate Honorable CNN for bringing this very, very important motion about our sportsmen and our sportswomen, and it is very timely. And it is here in Parliament that we do budgeting and appropriation, and we should do we should support our sportsmen and sportswomen with the resources they deserve, because they indeed have made Kenya. They have put Kenya in the world map. Mr. Speaker, I would also wish to congratulate the Ministry of Education for looking at the reforms and putting more effort in bringing up the sports and bringing up sport in Kenya, because all learning makes, there was an assertion which used to say that learning the whole day makes Jack a dull boy. And it is important that we are now recognizing sports as a pathway in our education system. It will go a long way in shaping our young people. I want also to use this opportunity to thank the Honorable President, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for also supporting our sportsmen, especially what we saw recently when we were hosting the AFCON, and he went all the way to support them and motivate them, and eventually we almost ran away with the first position. But that is an indication that whenever we support our sportsmen and women, they will shine. But unfortunately, it is not just, we should not just be reacting to situations, but we must have a scheme which sorts out everyone. Mr. Speaker, as I was sitting here, unfortunately, Honorable Tim has left. He normally represents Bunge and also CNN in our sports, and they win, they get medals. But when we get here to Bunge, what happens? Including, they'll make it here, and Janet Sitene. Whenever they succeed, they go out there, they are international, and they go and play, and they bring medals, but nobody recognizes them. So it's also high time that Bunge recognizes the sportsmen and women, those who bring honor to this house, outside the floor of the house, but in the field and internationally. I would also want to say that it is not just enough to recognize, to make this reward scheme for only those who have accomplished internationally. Mr. Speaker, sports should start at the local level. It should start at the grassroots, where these athletes are, where their talent is getting, where the talent is, where at the initial stage of the talent, so that these sports people are resourced and they are supported all the way from the grassroots up to the international, because you can't just start from the international, it must start somewhere, and that somewhere is always the grassroots. We should support this talent even in our schools, even in our colleges, so that we prepare them very well. We employ coaches who will train these sports people from the grassroots, from our schools, from the sports academies, so that we improve their quality and we improve their competitiveness, so that as a result of that, we even get more medals coming to Kenya. Because imagine if up to now we don't have such a scheme and we are still getting recognized. They are the people who are flying our flag internationally. The other day, when I was in a conference outside Africa, somebody asked me, is Kenya the capital city of Africa? So at least somebody knows that there is a Kenya, and there is a Kenya in Africa, and because of sports, they recognize us, because everybody during the international, when our athletes go international, they have always succeeded, and that has put us in the map of not just Africa, but Kenya, to an extent that somebody thinks that Kenya is the capital city of Africa. Madam Speaker, when this scheme must include financial management.
Did I hear you refer to me as madam?
Sorry. Sorry, Mr. Speaker, it's because Honorable Rachel Nyamai was there for some time and Gladys Boshole was there. And also, this issue of boy child really made me, I'm sorry for that.
You are pardoned.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
You know my position with those terminologies.
I know, and I apologize. It should not just be the awards. It should not just be the award scheme, but the award scheme should also include preparations and managing them after, all through their lives, when they are growing their talents, and even post, when they are retired. We should be giving them financial management. Mr. Speaker, was in issue in Elgeyo Marakwet, for instance, I've been home to many champions and Nandi, by extension, to an extent that was in issue. I think another one is the source of champions, another one is the home of champions, another one is whatever. Mr. Speaker, you will find that in those regions, the stadiums alone, for instance, the Kamarin Stadium, which Honorable DK spoke about, it has been going through construction for the many years, I remember. Kipchoge Stadium, since Kipchoge was, those days of Kipchoge, it has been undergoing construction. It is not complete. So that shows that I mean, we have we have little regard for our sportsmen and women. We only celebrate them at the comfort of our TV rooms when they succeed. And when they are done, we just forget. So we should manage our stadiums. We should also manage them, give them training on financial management, because we have those who succeeded, they retired, but they are now languishing in poverty at home because nobody trained them on how to manage the success. Relatives took advantage of some. Whenever they send money at home or whenever they arrive, we have brokers who are just hovering around them, wanting to run away with the success. And eventually, because of their little knowledge in finance management, they have given in, and so many of them are languishing in poverty. Some are in the streets. Some are living in abject poverty, Mr. Speaker. So it is also very important to make sure that they are given continuous financial training. They are given talks on mental challenges, because they undergo so many issues in society, especially after they are tired. Mr. Speaker, we should also have a policy where they just don't decide on their own to migrate and go and represent other countries without the knowledge of the country. Because sometimes we see names and we think they are Kenyans, only to be told that they don't belong to Kenya. They have sold their citizenship. They do that because we don't recognize them. But if we sit with them and give them the necessary support, Mr. Speaker, I don't think they would be interested in migrating or changing their citizenship for the sake of making money for other countries. And finally, Mr. Speaker, I would wish that the Honorable CNN pushes this motion and makes it a bill within the life of this parliament, so that we will start our sportsmen can start benefiting. And because of time, I can.
Honorable Dena Amisi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I rise to support this motion. And I think to CNN, this is coming a bit late. I think you should go straight ahead to make it a bill. One, first, because of the social economic impact of what sports does to this country. When you look in the world, for example, Michael Jordan, all those people, they are running companies, they are running businesses, they are running their economies. And I think now, like what my colleague has said, when you go to Eldoret now, all the major buildings you can identify. So there's also the issue of the cultural identity in sports. People come and join together and support each other. And then there's that income that generates into the country. We have just seen recently in Tokyo and how much they've earned. And yet it's so frustrating when those people are received at the airport, they have come with an economy class ticket, and yet some of us here are always traveling on business. First, what is more important, I want to insist, is on the counseling. We've had people like Mohamed Abbas, who was the best goalkeeper in this country. We had like Kadenge. We saw most of us how he died. I think we need to keep emphasis on the counseling on our sportsmen, because they come, they earn big money, but the most important thing, they are not being told about investment, about they can get sick, about the lifespan of a sportsman is about 15 years. So I think the ministry should come with an aspect of counseling. So I raise to support CNN, but I think more important, he should come up and make this a bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Gideon Ochanda is recognized to make his contributions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I do support the motion in principle. It is true, the benefits and the value we derive from our international sports persons is important. whether they are plenipotentiaries, whether their stature is important, and that it's also good that they are recognized from time to time. I'm not too sure whether this direction may be the best in terms of rewards, money. I wanted to vary a little bit in 2 or 3 different ways. One is what goes into this international sports person before Tokyo? What goes to this individual men and women before they get to the international levels? Who knows where they come from? Who identifies them? Who invests in them? Who enrolls them? Because these are critical things that as a country we need to be knowing exactly what happens. Because that's exactly where we are saying at one point that some of them are exploited because nobody knows where they are. We only celebrate them when they win. But before they win, we have no idea where they emerge from. We have no idea who trains them. We don't know the cost of training a person from the long road they follow through to the international level. Who knows? Who knows the cost of training one person? Who knows what goes with the development of this one person? So they are many times are identified by some individual business people, whether we call them coaches or trainers. They are identified by those same coaches. They are identified by these trainers. They are taken through training and coaching through these individual private people, so that by the end of the day, it is even these people that enrolls them. We only meet them when they are at the game. We only meet them when they are at the field. So what is it that we are doing as a nation? What is it that we are doing as a government for purposes of even costing alone, so that you get to know what goes into training, developing a person from whatever level they are up to the international level? I think this is very critical because that's where you may need to have proper investment more than in the issue of rewards. So, Mr. Speaker, as we look at that, you see, in terms of development and this is exactly where I wanted to bring this to members, the issue of matching training, skills, and industry. I'm very sure that our direction in terms of the curricula is matching towards that end. But as we do that, what is it that we are doing in our education system? Let me surprise you that in terms of capitation, each learner gets 8 bob. From the last data that I had, each learner has 8 shillings for sports. So what can 8 bob do? 8 shillings. So schools were very active between March and May, or between March and June because of sporting activities. They're very busy. You have the primary school, we have the junior school, we have the secondary school, the normal secondary schools that we know. All of them in the same environment. But if you look at it checked, the amount of investment that we are putting on sport, at that level is 8 bob. 8 bob by 200 learners in one school is 160,000. So 160,000 to manage sports, all the cadres of sports, not just football, everything else that are supposed to be done, including the management and all that. And then these learners play within inter-schools, then they get to zones, then they do inter-zones, they go the sub-county, they go county, then they go regional, then they come national. How does 8 bob help in all those levels? 8 shillings. Yeah? So what do we invest, even in terms of when we are talking about matching skills and industry, matching our training with industry? I think there's a lot that needs to be done in terms of costing exactly what exactly goes into an individual learner for purposes of sports. Immediately we have sport as a pathway. There must be investment in the pathway. And if we don't invest in the pathway, then we don't mean what we are saying, or we also don't mean what we are trying to do as a country. So, Mr. Speaker, this whole idea of checking the value in terms of how much are we supposed to be investing if we are to move forward as a country is very important. This aspect of maybe rewarding, you see, when we go to the international sports, USA, America sometimes has a lot of goals. When you look at the kind of the events that make them have those goals, and 100 and so whatever gold, then we get back with our 8 or so goals, and we are number 2 or so, or whatever. You look at the sporting events that they carry, the sporting events that they do. I don't think that the investment on javelin can be the same as the investment in training 800-meter athlete. So if you are to reward these people later on, how do you reward them 6 million shillings, for example, when they are back? So I think this is where CNN may need to look at again. They may need to look at it afresh. You may win javelin, somebody may win AJAABU. You know, AJAABU is a sport. Yes, so you win AJAABU, and you get back here, you are looking for 6 million, yet somebody who has been going through all this training, the investment and everything else, the energy, the effort, and the money. Yes, so I think that's where you may need to tweak this a little bit. So that somebody who comes back with a medal from AJAABU or from javelin, where you only need a lot of ugali, it will be different from the other. So, Mr. Speaker, I thank you very much for the chance, and CNN, I think you may need to do quite a bit on the motion.
Honorable members, let me make some communication before we proceed again. Honorable members, I wish to introduce to you a delegation comprising members from the Parliament of Malaysia who are seated in the Speaker's row. The delegation members are: 1, the Honorable Wong Chen, MP, is the leader of delegation. The Honorable Haji Aminul Hud bin Hassan, MP. The Honorable Yuneswaran Ramaraj, MP. The Honorable Dato Wira Dr. Ku Abd Rahman bin Ku Ismail, MP. And lastly, the Honorable Wan Ahmad Faisal bin Wan Ahmad Kamal, MP. Honorable members, the delegation is accompanied by 5 members of the Secretariat from the High Commission of Malaysia in Nairobi and 3 senior officers from the Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. They are in the country on official duties and have also paid a courtesy call on the Speaker of the National Assembly, accompanied by the chairpersons of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations and Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Honorable members, on my behalf and that of the National Assembly, I welcome them to Parliament and wish them fruitful engagements during their stay in the country. I thank you. This is a communication by the substantive Speaker, the Right Honorable Dr. Moses FM Wetangula EGH MP and Speaker of the National Assembly. There is great interest on this motion. I'm informed that the time for debating it has lapsed under the standing orders. In fact, Honorable Chanda just ended it on the last second. And so it is now time for the mover to reply. No doubt, under standing order number 1, I will allow the mover to make donations, if he wishes, of his time. The mover, please now proceed and reply.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I speak, I would like to donate 8 minutes to the following members who have requested me formally. Karoli Omont was supposed to speak. I will donate 1 minute. Didi Nyoro, my brother, I will donate 1 minute. Jalango, 1 minute. Julius, 1 minute. Eric Karemba, 1 minute. Mary Mase, 1 minute. Linus Kaikai, 1 minute. And Lillian, 1 minute. Thank you very much.
Let us proceed as donated. I thought you were going to donate to some too, to make meaningful contributions. But give Honorable Karoli Omondi the mic.
Honorable Speaker, I was supposed to second this motion, but I was held up somewhere. So I'd prepared very extensively. I don't even know how to start. But Honorable Speaker, all great nations around the world have always been occupied with sports, whether they were Greeks or Romans. And if you look at the motto of the Olympics, Citus, which is faster, Altius, which is higher, Fortius, which is stronger, and Communita, which is together, they mean quite a lot, even for national development and cohesion. And this is the role of sports in our country. Sports have been very useful in breaking barriers amongst human beings. Hitler was not able at any point in time to hold the feet of James Cleveland Owens when he broke 5 world records and earned 5 gold medals in Berlin Olympics, proving that racism had no place. In our country, we have had some very able sports people. I remember Moses Kiptanui, who became the first man ever to win the 3,000 steeplechase under 8 minutes. And we had Eliud Kipchoge, the first man ever to run the full marathon under 2 hours. And most recently, the first Suba lady, Lilian Odira, to win 800 meters in Tokyo. But anyway, in terms of developing sports, I would like to propose, in addition to what CNN has introduced, that we focus more on development of sports. Before we talk about the reward system, let's talk about the development of sports. The cost of training our athletes so that they can achieve high performance. Who can...
Honorable Ndindi Nyoro.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable CNN, my brother. I just want to make a few remarks. One is the reason why we must always take our sportsmen very seriously, is because whatever they do is not for themselves, but for the country. The kind of marketing they do for Kenya goes into other sectors, including tourism, and the multiplier effect is felt more than in the field. And therefore, rewarding them appropriately should be our priority. The other thing, Honorable Speaker, is the role actually that sports play in the culture. As we know today, our country, Kenya, yes, it's a republic, it's a nation, it's a country, but after all is said and done, we are made up of several nations within our own nation. And what culture does, Honorable Speaker, is to help a country move away from the static identities, like the ones we identify ourselves with, and cultivate a fluid identity. That's what culture does, including sports. So that...
Honorable Ndindi Nyoro must complete the statement he was making. Give him 30 seconds.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I was just trying to say that, Honorable Speaker, what also culture does is to demolish the static identities, and what culture does is to give us way as a country to have more fluid identities that bring us together as a homogeneous people, so that constantly we continue running away from the static identities, especially of ethnicity, so that Kenya can continue to be one country, and culture and sports plays a very dominant role in that. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Felix Odiwuor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity, and also thank Honorable CNN for this motion. And we hope that it comes here and becomes a bill. I had so much to say, but these are donated minutes, so I'll be very quick. Number one, I'll just talk about the rewards. We propose that even immediately you are announced as a gold champion, even flying back, you should be upgraded. You saw when Perez was a world champion, and were it not for the cabin crew that recognized as the the world champion, marathon world champion, should have stayed in the economy class. Not that flying economy is bad, but this is the world champion. Secondly, we keep on losing so many athletes to countries who reward their athletes better, like Yavi, who runs for Bahrain. If we could reward our champions in the best way possible, they will be not leaving this country. And also, beyond rewarding, the development of sports and the facilities would be a very big thing. We request the completion of the Camarine Stadium to be fast-tracked, because we were in Marakwet the other day. The stadium
Honorable Julius Tuitum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. CNN, for this opportunity and for coming up with a very, very progressive motion. I want to implore to you to graduate this motion into a bill. Mr. Speaker, for the sporting activities to flourish to professional levels, we must tailor them. We must make sure that sporting is looked at the national level. I remember, Mr. Speaker, when we were in primary school, those who are taking part in activities, they were rewarded by getting even oranges or other things that could motivate the kids to do well in sporting activities. Mr. Speaker, the country is not looking at the sporting activities keenly. You remember that the money that was put into the NCDF kitty was removed.
Honorable Eric Muchangi. It's regrettable. I thought you'd have 10 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is a very progressive motion by the Honorable CNN. Honorable Speaker, we were able to see how the sportsmen and women from this country exposed Kenya to the world in the just recent Japan Tokyo competitions. And only recently, how the footballers from this country entertained Kenyans and united the country around the sport. So this is a gold mine that we need to exploit by investing enough. And just like Taitumu has said, it was grievous of this House to pass an amendment, the NGCDF amendment, that did away with the sports fund. We need to revisit that matter and ensure that we have funds that can take care of sports right from the grassroots. Because we have heard stories of how football or
Honorable Mary Emase.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Kenyan sportsmen and women have made Kenya proud and have put Kenya in the map of the world. And therefore, as proposed by this motion, they must be recognized and appreciated. Honorable Speaker, it is obvious that Kenya has talent. And I want to commend the President even for the development of sports academies that are being constructed across the country. More than 30 are ongoing. And I want to say that those sports academies must be concluded, resourced and equipped so that we can develop more talent and continue to fly the flag of Kenya high across the country. So I support this proposed motion to reward sportsmen and women, and we must have it, make it more structured so that the identification, all the processes to recognition are clear, and that the sportsmen and women are nurtured to ensure that Kenya wins more gold.
Honorable Kaikai Bissau.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, and for Honorable CNN. Sports is a job opportunity. Sports is a livelihood. Sports unite us. I am here through sports. That is how I paid my school fees. And also, as a patron of a football team, the life of a sports person is very complicated. While we thank CNN for the post-retirement motion on about sports persons, but today, if you look even the allowances that our teams are drawing, an example, in a day, a Harambee Stars player earns 1,000. That is very low. So even during the active sporting, we expect that we look into this. And again, we want to thank the President. Like in Trans Nzoia, soon we will also be beneficiaries of the sports complex, like Homa Bay, Siaya, etc. So in a nutshell, we also need to ensure that we've got good facilities across the country, and during the active life of any sports person, we have to ensure that it's treated as an employment with all the coverages being there. And I think that will help, because if you look at the current situation whereby you're talking of giving
The Honorable Lilian Sioi, MP.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also stand to support and congratulate Honorable CNN for coming up with a very such a nice motion. I agree that we really need to reward our sportsmen and women. But the biggest problem we have, Mr. Speaker, is that this reward we are talking about, we lose it in the hands of the private academy and the agents. Majority of our sports men and women don't have government nurturers who can help them nurture their talents, and therefore they fall in the hands of these people, and most of these rewards ends up in their hands. And that is why you find them with a lot of the rewards that they have been given, they are languishing in poverty, they have got nothing because it was taken by the agents, majority of whatever reward that they were given. So I stand to support that we should have enough facilities that are going to help our sports persons. We nurture them well, we reward them well directly, and we support them in whatever thing they are doing, because
Mover
to reply.
You barely have 1 minute to reply.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I intentionally brought this as a motion just as a way of public participation. You can see the interest is the motion to become a bill. And I can promise Kenyans that I am preparing the bill. I have done enough public participations, and the majority of the members who have not spoken, they will speak during the bill, when I'll be moving it very soon, if it is approved by the Speaker. With those few remarks, thank you so much, members, for the overwhelming support on this motion. And I promise the Kenyan athletes and all the sportsmen, we are going to work together so that we can actually get the benefits of sports in this country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yeah, honorable members have confirmed we have quorum to transact business. I therefore put the following question. That are where order. I know Honorable Ndindi is a ranking member. Honorable Ndindi Nyoro is a ranking member. Yeah. That are where that sports play an integral role in promoting cultural heritage, national identity, national development, the well-being of the people, and sustenance of livelihoods, particularly of the youth, appreciating that sessional paper number 3 of 2005 provides a framework for sports development and operationalization in the country, further appreciating that the sector plan for sports, culture and arts 2018 by the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Arts mainstreamed sports development in the third medium-term plan MTP3 for 2018-2022 under Kenya's Vision 2030, recognizing that the Vision 2030 aims at capitalizing on the country's international reputation as a world-class sports powerhouse whose sportsmen and women have won international accolades and recognition, especially for their prowess in athletics. Concerned that despite bringing honor and national pride to the country, most sportsmen and women face a myriad of challenges, such as lack of psychosocial support and social protection, hence pushing many to alarming levels of mental health challenges during their careers and even after retirement, noting that sessional paper number 3 of 2005 contemplated motivation of sports persons by the state through cash and material prizes, conferring state honors, appointments as goodwill ambassadors, and establishing contributory insurance and saving schemes, among other forms of motivation, Cognizant of the fact that the prospect of receiving state recognition, financial grants, and other perks inspire sportsmen to push their limits in attaining their full potential, as well as fostering a collective sense of pride in sporting achievements. Now, therefore, this House urges that the government, through the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports and Arts, develops a policy and standardized sports reward scheme for recognizing the achievements made by sports persons in internationally recognized competitions through 1. Financial rewards of Kenya shillings 6 million for setting new world records, Kenya shillings 4 million for gold medalists, Kenya shillings 3 million for silver medalists, and Kenya shillings 2 million for bronze medalists. 2. Non-financial motivation, including facilitation with issuance of diplomatic passports for established sportsmen and women, appointment as goodwill ambassadors, and conferring national honors and privileges. And 3, establishing medical cover and a post-retirement social protection scheme, including establishing contributory insurance and savings schemes to support sports persons who retire from active sporting due to injuries of age. As many as are of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many as are of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Let us be upstanding, honorable members. Honorable members, the time being 1 p.m. stands adjourned until today, Wednesday, the first day of October 2025 at 2:30 p.m.